Well, hot damn greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, brought to you in part by our friends over at Mint Mobile, coming to you from right here on our YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and yes, your eyes do not deceive you. It's Friday, and I'm actually here. Had a few meetings I had to do this afternoon, so I thought I'd do the show today, too. And I'm so glad that I did, because I'm joined by one Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing?
John, I'm good.
Wow. I think that is the most succinct I've ever heard Robert Meyer Burnett. And sitting right beside Robert, of course, is Chris Carr, who, by the way, is nervous today. You got to cut her some slack. According to Ray,
According to Ray, I'm
very
so
nervous today because Chris's husband Logan is actually
Logan's
sitting
in the corner
studio today, watching her,
judging me,
judging her with every
judging
step of the
away.
way.
Oh my gosh!
Speaking of Ray, joining you guys in the live chat today, Ray Ora is going to be there with you guys. Ray, how you doing?
I watched Dragon Ball Superhero
What'd you
for
think?
the second time yesterday.
Which is more than you've watched Morbius.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And it's pretty good. It's the same Dragon Ball stuff, but it's really good. Everyone who's a fan should just watch it. They probably have already. So.
I'm going to go on a limb. I haven't seen this movie. Was there a scene where one character looks in utter disbelief at another character doing something, saying, "That's impossible"? Did that happen? I'm just
Maybe
guessing.
a couple times.
Yeah, a couple times.
People change colors too. I mean, the same old thing, but it's good.
Sitting right beside him, of course, running the show today, producer Jonathan Voico. Jonathan, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I cannot believe we're through another week. It's crazy.
I know it's Friday, right? I feel like the week just got started yesterday, but I knew it was the end of the week because I was sitting down watching Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power last night, so I knew that the week was almost over. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But most importantly, guys, you guys are here. Thank you so much for joining us and making the show part of your day. Here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to break it into two parts. In the first half of the show, we're going to talk about some predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. The way we do that is, number one, you got to be watching live. And number two, when we get to the end of the main topics, we'll announce that we're opening up the super chats. We only leave them open for just a couple of minutes, so be ready to go. And that'll be your time to fire in your thoughts, theories, opinions, comments, and questions, and we will address those in the second half of the show. Also want to let you guys know, because last night was Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, a little bit later today, we're going to have at 3 p.m. Los Angeles time, the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power after show. Hot damn, that episode was great. We're going to talk about that. When's the last time I said that? Answer, I haven't said that yet. So thank God, last night's episode was great. We're going to talk about that a little bit later today in more detail at 3 p.m. Make sure you guys come back and join us for that. All right, guys. We got a bunch of things to get through today, so let's get things started with some off the tops, and we're going to start off with this. You know, whenever you talk about the Netflix Marvel shows that they did, obviously the first name that comes to mind for everybody was Iron Fist.
Thank you.
That was obviously the one. Iron Fist was clearly the one that everybody thinks about. If you're talking about what was the weakest of the Netflix series, that is. Listen, season 2 of Iron Fist, I thought the first 2 or 3 episodes were actually pretty strong. I'm like, oh, wow, this show's finding its footing. And then it all went to hell. And then it all fell apart. That was just not a show that did well. And I've heard, hold a second. Yes, 0. I've heard from 0 people asking, when are they bringing back Iron Fist in the MCU? I haven't heard that one yet. But one person who really is wanting to see Iron Fist come back was the star of Iron Fist, Finn Jones. And Finn Jones is actually campaigning to try to get a Heroes for Hire show on Disney+. This comes to us from the folks over at CBR who wrote the following. Iron Fist star Finn Jones revealed that he wants to return to the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Danny Rand / Iron Fist in a Heroes for Hire Disney+ series. I would love to continue playing that character. I think there's a lot of room for growth. Personally, where I would like to see the reintroduction of the character would be in something like a Heroes for Hire TV series, Jones said in an interview with comicbook.com. I think that would be the most dynamic and fun way to reintroduce those characters. I loved working with Mike Coulter. Well, who wouldn't? Look at that guy.
Yeah.
And I loved the on-screen chemistry between Danny and Luke. I think it's a really interesting creative place that show can be taken in. I love to pick up that mantle again and keep moving the character forward and make the best possible Iron Fist there could be. All right. Let me throw out a couple of thoughts here. You know what? Everything that was wrong with Iron Fist, none of it was Finn Jones's fault. Finn Jones didn't write that dialogue. Finn Jones didn't direct the episodes. Did he give the strongest performance?
Yeah, he didn't cast himself either.
Yeah, he did. He also did not cast himself either. And I would argue this, even though season 2 got quite bad, in my opinion, I remember saying to Ann when we were watching it, I felt like as we were getting to the latter parts of season 2, I started to feel like Finn Jones was finally starting to grow into the character a bit. Like I thought his performance was improving when he was going. That said, were Disney now to take over Iron Fist and Kevin Feige were to take over Iron Fist and make an Iron Fist show with him, I have very little doubt it would be a superior product than what it was on Netflix. So, hey, I'm not going to say this is the dumbest idea in the world. I think there's some merit to it. And if Kevin Feige, which I do not believe this is the case, but if Kevin Feige just wanted to take the Netflix Marvel shows and just say they're all complete canon with the MCU, which I'm pretty sure he's not doing that, but then you kind of have to look at Danny and maybe bring him back in and maybe Finn is that. And also, I will not disagree with him that I thought him and Mike Coulter had some pretty okay chemistry together. All that being said, that's the positive side. The negative side is the reality is this. There's baggage that comes along. I mean, fairly or unfairly, and I'm sure there are people out there who really did like Iron Fist. That's the beauty of the subjectivity of the art. But I think it's fair to say that the majority of people probably, Iron Fist was probably their least favorite of that. So I don't really think this will happen. But I'm not going to say it would be the dumbest thing in the world to do it if they wanted, and nor would I say there wouldn't be any upside. I think there could be some potential outside. But yeah, it's up to me, not doing this. Rob, you hear what Finn Jones is saying? You buying it?
I'm like, there was a season 2 of Iron Fist?
I actually didn't know that either.
Look,
Me either.
as we would normally say on the show, actor wants role.
Water
Film
wet.
11. You know, I mean, it's... I
Actor wants to be in the MCU.
Yeah,
Water wet.
You know, it'd be
totally
great if you guys
respect
hired
and
me.
I respect his desire. His wherewithal, his gumption, admire it. So here's the thing. I don't think anyone is clamoring for this to happen. I would love to see Luke Cage again. I'm a huge Mike Coulter fan. I watch his new series Evil, which just recently finished its 3rd season. I don't even know what I think about Evil. I love the 1st season, but I keep watching it mainly because of him. But it did have a great season finale. I don't know if they're going to do that. I don't know if he has a shot. If they're making an Echo series, maybe he does.
I mean, hey, in a world where they're making an Echo series.
I mean,
Echo's gonna be lit. I'm excited.
The thing is, though, they have analytics. They can look at analytics, and in the streaming world, analytics are everything. They can look at how many people watch that show and be like, okay, they can put it right up against what they've got on Disney Plus and go, is this something that we should do?
By the way, it's the other thing that makes this a hard sell is the fact that when you look at Iron Fist, like when you look at Daredevil, a lot of great performances, but you think Charlie Cox. When you look at Punisher, a lot of great performances, but you think John Bernthal. When you look at Iron Fist, people don't think of Finn Jones. They think of Jessica Henwick.
Right.
They think of Colleen Wing. A lot of people think
Exactly.
Netflix, they should have just gone back and renamed the show Colleen Wing with special guest Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Anyway, you hearing about this, Chris, what do you think about it?
I would love that version of Heroes for Hire. I would love Colleen Wing and Misty Knight. And yeah, okay, Iron Fist, I guess you can come too. He was much better in the
You're
Defenders.
so mean.
Yeah,
know?
you know what? In a ensemble cast,
Yeah.
with
He
the
worked
Defenders,
well.
he actually was
I'd
better.
agree with
And
that.
he had a good dynamic with everyone else. It's just those fight scenes, which I know in the first season of Iron Fist, a lot of that really was against Finn. You know, they were on a very tight schedule. There wasn't time to really learn a lot of stuff and train the same way we see with other actors in the MCU. That being said, I just really feel like Colleen stole the show. I loved her dynamic with Misty. I really wanted that. I definitely want more Luke Cage. Give me more Jessica Jones, please. But him campaigning for this isn't exactly shocking because, yeah, all of us actors want to be in the MCU. We want that sweet, sweet Marvel money. Come on.
And also Mike Coulter, again, I like the idea with Mike Coulter, but Mike Coulter is just one of these guys. He's kind of like, Mike Coulter's like Javier Bardem and Jason Momoa, where it's just like, he's got FU good looks.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you look at him and you just feel bad about yourself. Like,
I don't.
But
I
as
feel
a
great
guy,
every time I look at him.
I look at Mike Coulter, I'm just like, I was feeling pretty good about myself until right now. He's got that good. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Would you be up for Finn Jones as Iron Fist coming into the MCU? Again, listen, it would be in different creative hands. Maybe they could do things differently, or maybe it's just well enough alone to go, you know what? That was adorable at the time. I don't know. How do you guys feel about it? Should they take a chance on it? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, let's get into another off the top, and that is this. 6 seasons and a movie. It is now official. About a month ago when there were people running around saying it's official now, it wasn't official, but it is now official. Peacock has officially ordered a movie of Community. Woo! And the Community fans everywhere are excited. But really, this should be called Community Sorta. That should be the name of the movie.
Community mostly white.
Hyphen sorta. Because here's the thing.
Great cast
It
members
says
aren't
the
there.
cast, the original cast is returning, but that's not really completely true. Obviously, Chevy Chase is not coming back. I mean, everybody knew that Chevy Chase wasn't going to come back, so that's not a surprise. What is a surprise is that there's a couple of other names that are completely synonymous with this show.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
We mean
Great
what you
recovery.
know. Yeah.
That may not be in this thing at all. This comes to us from Variety, who wrote the following. Further details, including a director and estimated premiere date, have not yet been shared. Also unanswered is whether other key Community cast members, including Yvette Nicole Brown and Donald Glover, might still make an appearance or maybe even a cameo. It's probably safe to say that Chevy Chase, who had a falling out with the show and whose character eventually died, will not be back. So here's the thing. When you're talking about Yvette and Donald Glover, who's clearly the biggest star out of anybody who's in the show, with the possible exception of Chevy Chase. I mean, he's the bigger star right now, but, overall. So Donald Glover, Childish Gambino, he's clearly the biggest star. Yvette was probably one of the most personality-infused characters in the show.
Shirley was incredible.
She was a dominant character in the show. And so getting this movie together without those two characters, I mean, again, it's a shame that you couldn't do it without Chevy Chase, but he'll never come back to do this anyway. So that's whatever. But still, listen, a lot of people who have been wanting to see a Community return. But I remember when we talked about this last month, we said, okay, if it happens, could it be good? And we're all like, yeah. But then we asked the question, but what happens if Donald Glover doesn't come back? And everybody was like, well, can you really do it without Donald Glover coming back? I mean, you can. So they did a season without Donald Glover coming back, although that was probably one of the weaker seasons. But but listen, if you're a Community fan, this is good news. But, to me, it's like doing a Seinfeld movie without George or Elaine. I mean, it's not really a Seinfeld thing. I mean, I don't know how I feel about it. Now, granted, I like Community. I'm not the biggest fan like some people are. So I'm sure there's a lot of Community fans who are like, whatever. Even if it was just Ken Jeong and Joel McHale back, that's good enough, right? Or even if it was just Pootie or whatever, that's good enough. And Alison Brie, that's good enough. So I'm sure if you're a super diehard fan, you'll take whatever you can get at this point. But I don't know, Chris, you hear about this. They're doing the Community movie.
Yeah.
Great. It's going to be straight to Peacock. Okay. But no word. Probably Donald Glover's not yet there. No word if Yvette's going to be there. I don't know how you feel about this overall.
It's kind of like when someone's like, I made you chocolate chip cookies, but I subbed out the chocolate chips for healthy things instead. And
I
there's
ate
also
them on the
hidden
way over
spinach.
here.
And yeah, because it's, a Community movie. Yay! All right, it's going to Peacock. Okay, that's fine. Troy and Shirley aren't in it. Because Troy is my most quotable character in this show, and his dynamic with Abed is why I watched Community. I love Troy and Abed in the morning. So good. That's what I want. And if Jim Rash isn't in this, I'm out, right? If I don't have the Dean in there, I'm not excited about this. I'm still probably going to tune in. I want to give it like a decent shot and everything, but that really does lower my anticipation level for this because I love them so much. I want Troy in there yelling about reading Rainbow and saying things about his emotions. We'll see how this goes.
Why do you know about putting spinach in chocolate chip cookies?
I don't know.
Well,
That's
what?
just the most horrific thing I've ever
I'm a
read in my
terrorist.
life.
Rob, what do you think about this? Is it still value in doing it?
Here's what I would say to you. Not to bring up Star Trek, but I'm going to bring up Star Trek.
What?
In the mid 70s, before they made Star Trek the motion picture, they were doing Star Trek Phase 2. And they had Leonard Nimoy wasn't going to be in it. And they had David Gautreau, who was playing Zahn, who was a Vulcan. Then they decided to make a movie. And Leonard Nimoy came back to play Spock. I think Donald Glover, you can't make Community without him.
Now remember, they did make Community without him.
I know, but did anyone, you just said it was weak season. It was kind of weak sauce. I love Donald Glover. I still think that they should take the supporting cast of The Martian, the NASA crew, including, Sean Bean, and Donald Glover and just make a show about them. Because I love Donald Glover as a performer. He's a great Lando.
Such
He was
a
a
good
really good
Lando.
Lando.
Great, he's
Yeah,
a great
he was a
Lando.
really
They're
good
talking
Lando.
about doing a Lando. Where's the Lando series? I think he's going to come back. I have no reason to believe this. I've not read anything. I think that actors, they love their audience. They want to be adored. Why wouldn't he come back? Like, even if he
Because
comes
they
back.
can't pay him what his rate is right now.
Yeah, but I bet he'll come back anyway.
Well,
Because you know what? He doesn't want to be that guy for the rest of his life, wherever he goes, why wouldn't you in a Community movie, dude?
okay, but let me ask you this question. Do you really believe that a Community movie on Peacock is going to be so pop culturally pervasive that everybody's going to be asking the question, why wasn't Donald Glover in the Community
I don't
movie?
think everybody's out, but people are going to ask him.
You think so?
Yeah,
Really?
I do. I think because the Community has a huge, loyal, very vocal fan base. People love Community. And the thing is, once something's on streaming, people aren't going to remember in 5 years that, I didn't know they weren't going to make a Community movie. There's going to be the show and the movie. And people are going to say to him for the rest of his life.
See, here's the thing. I think there's going to be the show, and some people might remember that there was a movie. I don't think there's going to be the show and on equal footing, the movie
I don't
on
know.
Peacock.
Once it's
I
on
don't know.
streaming, man, people just watch stuff. They leave Community on all day, every day. They just watch it
Yeah, Anne's
over
done that.
and
My
over.
wife has done that.
See what I mean? Like
But remember, Donald Glover's also a very busy guy right now.
Yeah.
He's got a whole ton of shit going on.
true.
And you know that making a movie is not a small time commitment. So, I mean,
but they'll probably shoot this like a TV show. The 25 days.
What
I
if
think we're
they-
going to see a cameo.
Yeah, I was going to say, what if they handle this like on Kim's Convenience with Shang-Chi, right? Where we would have, Simu coming in and just doing Skype calls with his
For the one
girlfriend.
season,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if we have those kind of cameos from Donald Glover, are you guys in, or is that kind of a cop-out for you?
I think it's a compromise.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that'll satisfy the Community fans, though.
Yeah.
If anything, would it just be a reminder that he's really not in the movie?
That's true.
I mean, I don't. And then do they just pull a Chevy Chase thing and say, "Oh, it's a terrible thing that he died last year"?
No, you
are
can't do
they
that.
just going to pull a Chevy Chase
Nah.
with Tom
Troy
Cruise's
lives
character
forever.
and say,
They
"Oh
gotta
man,
bring
that
it
sucks
back.
that Troy died last year." I mean, I don't know. Or again, listen, the report does not specifically say that Yvette and Glover will not be in the show. They're just saying, out of all the casts that are being reported that returning, they're not listed. So, I mean, maybe something can happen at some
I
point.
hope
but
Yvette Brown signs back on. She's great.
I mean,
Shirley's so fun and layered.
Her character, I might say her character's my favorite character in the show. I just adore her. But, I adore, well, you know what? I don't know. I adore Alison Brie's character. Anyway,
Yeah.
guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Are you excited for a Community movie in general? Are you as excited if those two do not actually return for this movie, or does it bother you at all that it's going to be a straight to Peacock as opposed to a theatrical? I don't know. Whatever you guys are feeling about this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, let's get on to the newest segment here on the John Campea Show, which is our Mint Mobile Hotline question of the day. Thank you to Mint Mobile for helping us have a hotline where you guys can actually call in a question for us to address here on the show. And that Mint Mobile hotline phone number is 951-268-4259. Go ahead and call it in and maybe you'll hear your voice on the show. So Jonathan, what is our hotline question today?
Hey, John. I was listening to you guys on the show today talk about the situation happening around the Blade film, and I guess I'm wondering, what options do they really have as far as redoing this movie? Do they have to finish a script in this next 6 to 8 weeks and meet that deadline? Or do they have an option of maybe trying to push back the filming of the film and rewrite the script? Can they afford to do that? How much time can they afford to push off if they wanted to? Yeah, I'd just love to hear your thoughts on this. Thank you. Have a good day, everybody.
Thanks a lot for calling that in. On the question of can they afford to do that? Yes, they can financially afford to do it. Whether or not that's what they want to spend their money on, we don't know. Listen, this Blade situation has been in the news a bit lately for a couple of reasons. Number one, that D23 came and went and they never whispered a word about it. Then we found out that the director has left just like 6 weeks before the movie was supposed to start shooting. I can't remember that ever happening in the MCU. 6 weeks before a movie's supposed to start shooting in the MCU and the director walked. Never heard of that before. Then reports started coming out that despite the fact that they announced this movie 3 years ago, that the script is apparently still a mess. 90 pages with 2 lackluster action scenes, and apparently on top of all that, reportedly Mahershala Ali's gotten pretty frustrated, which I guess you could understand considering he's sitting there with his 2 Academy Awards on his lap thinking, I'm not getting any younger. They announced me 3 years ago. And it feels like to him, we're no closer to getting this thing together. I don't think if the report, and this is a big if that report of that script being in as much disarray as they're saying it is, there's no way they make their start shoot date, and there's definitely no way they make their release date for 2023. No way. And then we started talking the other day of in Hollywood productions, domino effects are very, very, very real. It's a precarious dance when you're trying to, from a logistical point of view, pull off a motion picture. There are literally thousands of moving pieces. And as soon as one piece gets pulled out of place, it can cause the entire thing to fall down. It's a precarious thing. And if now all of a sudden these dates aren't met and all this kind of stuff, well, now people cinematographers may need to move on to another project. Costume designers may need to move on to another project. Producers and writers and all this and your star might have to say, listen, we've waited as long as we could. We've got to move on. We've got other projects we have to do. So that raises the question is, I think it's undoubted that they're never going to start shooting on time. I think it's undoubted that they're never going to make that release date if the reports of the script and obviously the director leaving are true. It brings up the very real question of, in this shared cinematic universe that is so intertwined, what kind of larger repercussions does it have if Blade is not out on time? Were they planning on having the Black Knight, have a certain thing that needed to happen in this Blade film so they could have Black Knight do something in another subsequent film? Is something in a further film based on Blade doing something in the Blade movie? And does it become a real possibility that this is a movie they could just cancel? Now, I said on the show the other day, I believe this movie is still getting made. They're going to make it. They're going to move forward. But honestly, I've been thinking about it more. And I think I said a 15% chance. I would give it a solid 40% chance. I think that this film just gets canceled. This is a movie that was announced 3 years ago. It sounds like they're no further ahead than they were 2 years ago. Kevin Feige's reportedly spread incredibly thin. Mahershala Ali's getting frustrated. They don't have a working script yet. They currently don't have a director. Listen, I'm not going to say I think this movie isn't getting made, but I think it's a bigger possibility than I thought it was the other day. Anyway, Chris, we've been talking about this. The person who called in raised some great questions. What are their options at this point? What can they afford to do? What can they not afford to do? And ultimately, what do you see as the possibilities that maybe the Blade film just disappears?
I don't think it's going to Kaiser Sose. I think it's going to stick around. And I know I said the opposite for Star Trek, right? I think this film is going to be completely scrapped. But that's because that is a franchise that hasn't done financially well. Blade has a lot of potential. And I really think they're going to try and make this work. They have a great star attached. Why would you want to lose an Academy Award winning, a two-time Academy Award winning actor who still looks young, who honestly, a lot of the stunt work and stuff for Blade doesn't have to be as intense, and he doesn't have to get as big as, a Captain America or things like that. And you have incredible stories to pull from. You can use Tomb of Dracula. You can use The Run from the 90s, Death of Doctor Strange. There's so much cool stuff that you can use here that I really, really think they're going to keep trying to make this work. I would take a lower number than you're saying about the cancellation. I'd give it maybe a 20%. I believe in this movie. And I believe in this guy.
All right, Rob, let's throw it over to you. I mean, we all know that this is a precarious dance that everybody's playing. It's a dance of dragons, if you will.
Ooh.
What do you think about the current situation they're in? What are their options? And what do you think the likelihood is that they cancel this?
Well, a director walking 6 weeks before a film is shooting is bad. And it leaves me, they have to have been building sets. So there's money that's been spent. They're deep, deep, deep into pre-production. It's worrisome to hear that they have a script that they didn't. Too many Hollywood productions in the last 25 years have gone into production when the script wasn't right.
Right.
It never comes out well. And I think that this is disappointing. As you pointed out, they announced this movie 3 years ago. And I would imagine that of all the movies, because I feel this way as a fan, I don't think they ever cracked what they wanted to do with Blade, because I'm willing to bet that they still don't quite understand, like with mutants, where do vampires fit into the MCU? Where does it? I think that's why Werewolf by Night interests me so much, because I've always talked on this show, especially where does the supernatural fit in the MCU? I'll bet they've had a hard time cracking that. That's why the script is not 100%. It's not where. Why are there only 2 action scenes? You've got 3 Blade movies, 2 which are pretty good, 1 which isn't. And you can go, well, we've got examples of where to go. And I would have thought that Blade would have been a script that they would have had nailed years ago.
Yeah.
And to know that they don't, you've got an Academy Award winning actor. You're writing for somebody whose strengths that he's cast.
And he won one of those Academy Awards for a very small amount of screen time.
Right.
Ali can do a lot with a little.
A lot with a little. And if he's frustrated, and if the fact that the director walked, because he wasn't, not like James Gunn and not like Taika Waititi, it's not a writer-director project. The director was hired. And I'm sure that, I mean, for a director to walk away from creative differences, it has to be a shambles. They're not ready to make this movie, clearly. And I don't think they're going to be, I mean, I would only imagine they spent millions of dollars already building sets.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Let's look at it from a slightly different angle. What are the chances? Because schedules are a very, very real, huge thing. Mm-hmm. And when actors sign on for things, they can only keep themselves available for so long.
Yeah.
What are the chances this movie happens, but may have to happen without Mahershala Ali?
I think that's a distinct possibility.
Yeah, he's very sought after.
Yeah.
And it's not like he hasn't carved out this time already. Like, and
By the way, none of us are saying that that's what's going to happen.
yeah, right.
This is pure speculation.
Yeah, this is all speculation.
It's actually why
And-
Donald Glover can't do Community. I'm just dropping the scoop now.
Hey, you know what?
I wouldn't be mad
Donald
about
Glover
that.
is the new
His
Blade.
I would watch
He's
the
already in the
shit out of
MCU,
that.
but that would be awesome.
Not to bring up Star Trek again, but Nicholas Meyer basically rewrote Star Trek 2 in just a few weeks. He doesn't get screen credit, but he rewrote the entire screenplay and directed Star Trek 2, and it was pretty great. So maybe they'll bring in somebody. Maybe in the next 6 weeks they'll write that, they'll get the script down.
They could, I mean, look,
And
one of the famous stories about that, Joss Whedon, and I forget the other one, they literally wrote the script for Cabin in the Woods in a weekend. Which, I mean, that, again, that should not be seen as normal. But, so, I don't know. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this with all the drama going on and losing directors? Do you think this movie can actually come out on time? I think that's nearly an impossibility at this point. But does the movie still happen? Does it happen, but maybe without Mahershala Ali? Or is it just, look, things are going to be delayed. Everything's going to be fine. Maybe that's the case. If anybody can pull a miracle out of the hat, it's Kevin Feige. What do you guys think about this? Jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. All right, guys, with all that down, we're going to move into our main topics. But before we do, we're going to take a second and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode. I'm wearing their shirts, our friends at True Classic. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, True Classic. This brand new sponsor has the absolute best fitting t-shirts that a man can buy. Finding the right t-shirt with a little bit of a dad bod is incredibly frustrating. Most t-shirts are either way too tight on your gut or look way too big and boxy. You're not in high school anymore and it's time to upgrade. True Classic has already helped over 2 million men finally get a better fit at an affordable price. And the John Campea Show viewers and listeners get access to the best deal they offer. For a limited time only, get 25% off using the code CAMPEA at trueclassic.com. Look, you and I both know that almost all of men's t-shirts are designed to look good on skinny models with six-packs. But let's be honest, that's not most of us. True Classic tees taper off towards the bottom, but they fit tighter around the chest and shoulders. It's time to highlight your best attributes with a t-shirt that you can always confidently throw on. Like most of you guys, ever since college, I've always struggled to find proper fitting t-shirts that are comfortable. Well, True Classic, from the moment I put on the shirt they sent me, solves it. And True Classic doesn't just stop at tees. From polos and workout shirts with the same flattering fit. Upgrade your wardrobe with True Classic. Get 25% off at trueclassic.com with the promo code CAMPEA. Free shipping included on purchases over $100. 100% risk-free guarantee with a 30-day refund policy. Stay classy with True Classic. Your dad bod will thank you. And thank you to our friends at True Classic for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, with that down, let's get into our main topics here. And how do we select our main topics? Well, that's where you guys come in, because you guys select our main topics. See, whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic on the show, just go anytime, 24/7, over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Chris, what is our first main topic today?
Our first topic comes from Amlin. Hey, everyone. Been a big fan since I discovered the channel during the Endgame review.
Oh, thank you, man.
I wanted to get your thoughts on Colin Trevorrow's comments about Jurassic World Dominion just being the kicking off point of a whole new series of Jurassic World movies. I thought this movie was advertised as the end of the franchise. What's there left to do in Jurassic Park that hasn't been done 4 times already? Wanted your thoughts. Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot for saying that. And, this kind of came up the other day because one of the stars of the... Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah.
Bryce Dallas Howard came out and said, we are laying the groundwork for a future set of characters and we're like, whoa, wait a minute. They're gonna go with more of these movies? Didn't they advertise this thing as the conclusion to the Jurassic Park franchise? And brought all the characters together and all that kind of stuff. Well, apparently Colin, the director, had nothing to do with that being in their advertising. This is really interesting. This comes to us from the folks over at the Playlist who write the following. In a new interview with Trevorrow, the director went into detail about his approach to the Jurassic Park franchise and how he wanted Dominion to mark a transition for the series. I specifically did something different than the other films in order to change the DNA of the franchise. How can I allow them to tell stories in a world which dinosaurs exist, as opposed to, here's another reason why we're going to the island? So, in Trevorrow's thinking, taking the dinosaurs off island and integrating them into the larger world opens up a range of possibilities for future movies. This movie clearly takes a real interest in creating new characters that a new generation is going to latch onto. Trevorrow insisted to Empire that Dominion isn't the finale of the Jurassic films. I never knew that this was the ending of the franchise until I saw it in the marketing, Trevorrow said. Those guys are brilliant at what they do, but for me, I think it might have been clearer if they had said it's the end of an era as opposed to the end of it all. And that again comes to us from the folks at the Playlist. So yeah, apparently when making this movie, Trevorrow was never told, we're going to market this as the end of the Jurassic World franchise. No, he knew that he was making this movie and trying to do it in such a way. How good or bad is up to the individual viewer to decide. But he was going to make this movie in such a way that it ends with a different kind of world, that new characters can come out in future Jurassic films. So now this is the second person from the Jurassic World franchise. The star and Bryce Dallas Howard, now the director saying, yeah, this is all just a setup for future movies. There are more movies coming.
Oh, it's a setup, all right.
Oh, it's a setup. Rob, you've always said, just show us dinosaurs eating people.
That's right.
I mean...
Kids love dinosaurs eating people.
I got to admit, I am a little, I said this during the Bryce Dallas Howard story, like this is a little bit surprising to me because really the person who asked the question asked it right. Where is there to go? What can you do that you have not done in these movies before? And I guess that was kind of Trevorrow's point, saying we want to create an entirely new context for which these stories can take place, I suppose. Taking dinosaurs into space or whatever, maybe. But I don't know. What do you think about his comments?
Well, I think I mean, clearly the movie made $1 billion. When a movie makes $1 billion, there's going to be a sequel.
Of course, yeah.
Joker, never going to be a sequel. Oh, wait.
It made $1 billion.
Made $1 billion.
And won an Oscar.
Look, the first thing that I would say is war. They were always talking about, before Jurassic World got made, that there were scripts that were developed where dinosaurs are being used in combat.
And they alluded to that a little bit in a couple of the movies.
They did. And whether you can domesticate dinosaurs, you can fight wars with dinosaurs, you can have sporting events with dinosaurs, you can do all kinds of things with dinosaurs. I would, this movie was called Dominion. I would jump 100 years in the future and show a world like I talked about on the show a couple weeks ago, Planet of the Apes style. What happens when human civilization falls? Because it's not just the dinosaurs, there's an ecosystem that's coming up around them that is inhospitable to mankind. And I think that would be cool. There's many possibilities. All of them involve dinosaurs eating people, and I'm there for it. As long as dinosaurs are going to continue to eat people en masse, I will watch these movies.
Dinosaurs versus ninjas.
You know what? Even although I think the ninjas would be riding dinosaurs, which would be cool.
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes.
They would be on dinosaur back with arrows and firing. I mean, let's do that. Bring back the Tokugawa shogunate, bring back ninjas, bring back dinosaurs, the whole feudal Japan era. I mean, Japan decides to cut themselves off from the rest of the world and turn they're going to go back.
Somewhere right now, Marty Scorsese is frantically writing down notes.
I'm telling you. You know what?
It's like
where is the Shogun
glasses
miniseries that we've been waiting for 10,000 years? They say it's done. That's what they're going to do. Dinosaurs in modern Japan with ninjas.
Hey, Chris, you hear Trevorrow's comments. What's your takeaway from what stood out to you the most out of everything he said there?
I mean, we've talked about this before. Of course they're going to keep making movies like this. Of course they are. People love seeing people get eaten by dinosaurs.
Yeah.
They're going to keep making them. I don't know why we kept pitching it as this is the end of all of this because it's
Because
just,
they said it.
Yeah.
They
Well, no,
said
but
it.
even when it was happening, it was, okay, sure it is.
Yeah.
It's the end with this cast. Much like how in Guardians, we're going to have the end of that group of Guardians, but they're still going to continue having Guardians of the Galaxy. You know what I mean?
They'll probably just do a big time jump. So it's like, see, they couldn't be alive now.
They couldn't do it. Yeah, they're not around until they get to the third installment, and then we'll have some of those people come back just aged.
Because they're cloned because they have the DNA because they got it in stat.
1,000%. It writes itself.
Human dinosaur hybrids.
I want us to get to the point where this just becomes, a remake of Dinosaurs the sitcom, the movie, or, a really intense version of Velocipaster.
Oh, God.
Velocipaster.
Why have we not done a movie club on Velociraptor?
Why am I not allowed to watch that for a reaction video?
I
Right.
just got this vision of like scientist dinosaurs 65 million years from now, and they're cloning humans, and it's Human Park.
Welcome to Human Park. All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Colin Trevorrow's like, yeah, when they started marketing in the trailers, the final chapters, that's news to me. He says there are more movies coming, and his mission was to set it up in such a way that they can tell different stories in the future. How do you feel about that? Listen, as much as everybody kind of whined about the new Jurassic World movie, it made $1 billion. How are you guys thinking about this? Jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. All right. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. Chris, what is our second main topic today?
This comes from Daniel Brubaker. Hello, Batman Beyond crew, plus John.
I'm here today.
This was it. It took 6 episodes, but Rings of Power is now officially the show I'd been waiting for. I agree with John that 4 and 5 were certainly improvements, but this episode is the one that finally made me squeal. The battles, the little twists, and the large-scale repercussions made this the first episode I immediately restarted from the beginning once the credits started to roll at the end. What did you guys think of the episode? Thanks.
All right, Daniel, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yes, I'm here today. So, yeah, listen, I said in episode 4, because you guys know I was really frustrated with the show when it first started. Particular episode, I nearly tapped out of the show. When episode 4 came along, and I thought episode 2 was an improvement. I thought episode 3 was an improvement. But when episode 4 came along, I said, now it's kind of starting to look like the show that I've kind of wanted it to be. Then episode 5 was the first one that I went, okay, this was quite good. This was really good. Now this is the show I want it to be. But episode 6, the episode that came out last night, this, I don't think you're going to find a lot of people that disagree. A lot of people disagree whether it was great or not, but I think most people would agree this has been the best episode of the series so far. And it's not just because there was fights. No, it was focused. This was a focused episode. And everything, my favorite moments weren't even the battles. It was, and we're not going to go into spoilery detail here. Again, you saw in the preview, in the trailer for this episode, that there were battles, so I'm not spoiling anything there. But you saw in the preview, the battles, but it's not the battles. It's these moments in between, the conversations, the stuff of the character building, all this kind of stuff, more mythology being revealed, and actual things with massive, like you said in the message there, massive repercussions to Middle Earth now, but things that are going to have repercussions on Middle Earth for thousands of years after the events here. This was truly the manifestation. This is the show living up to its potential for me. And it's a shame that it took 6 episodes to get here. Well, I mean, it started to get there in episode 5 for me, but still, I'm in complete agreement with you. I was finally at the end of an episode of Rings of Power, I was positively giddy. At the end of episode 5, I was just super relieved. Oh, God, okay, finally, it looks like they're finally starting getting their shit together. But this was the first one that it ended, and I was just filled with glee. I was super happy with it, very, very excited about it. Again, overall, it needs to finish strong. It has to finish strong. Because right now, if the series were to end right now, yeah, this episode was great. But overall, if it ended right now, it's okay. It's okay at best. So if they can now finish this out in the final 2 episodes and finish out really strong, it can turn the tide on that. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. We don't know. But I thought this episode was something pretty damn special.
Are there
Chris,
2 or 3 more?
What's that? I think there's 2 more. Is
2
it?
more.
Yeah, 8 episodes, right?
Yep.
And that was episode 6. Or is there 9? I think
No,
it's
there's 8.
Okay.
Anyway, Chris, I know you haven't had a chance to watch this yet.
No. Instead, Taylor and Amy took me and all of our partners out to go see Bros last night since we've had a really hard week and are going to have a hard weekend. So they took us out to go have a nice time. But I'm really excited to see it. And thank you, Fangblaze, for giving me the heads up that there's eye violence in this episode. Not looking forward to that.
I forgot about that. Yes,
Yeah.
there is definitely eye violence.
There's just going to be a moment, Logan, where you're just going to have to, help me
Cover
out.
your eyes.
Yeah. They're so big. I live in fear all the time. These are just waiting to get stabbed at any moment.
Anyway, Rob, you had a chance to see the episode. What do you think of it?
It was spectacular.
We got a spectacular. Spectacular.
No, I mean you can't go wrong. But here's my thing about there's a lot of stuff that happens in this episode, and a lot of, like you said, ramifications that have thousands of years of ramifications to it. Which I don't know if I'm totally on board with what they're doing, what they did in this episode, but I will say this: it did one of my favorite things without spoiling anything. I know. Don't put up the spoiler sign. I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna say
Jonathan's got his finger on my
No.
finger right now.
My finger's just twitching.
I always love. There's a trope. It's not. I always love when you think something's going to happen, and you're leading up to this thing, and you walk in there, and then what you think's going to happen. How do I say this? And no one's there. It's like you throw a party and nobody's there. You're waiting for the party to happen. I love that. And let's say I got that in this episode. I was like, ooh, because immediately you're like, what's going to happen now? Because you're what you thought was going to happen isn't happening the way you thought it was going to happen. How about that? I'm not spoiling anything.
I know, but when you work your way around spoilers, it's so much more confusing.
I know. But I'm just saying, so the episode got me from the get. I was all excited. I'm like, what's going to happen? And I will say this, John, this episode delivered. It was an hour's worth of wonderful TV. Like you said, I watched this hour-long show.
70 minutes.
70 minutes. I was giddy with excitement. We can get into things that I might have had a problem with later, but clearly now this show is giving me what I want.
Yeah, it makes me lament. And don't get me, John, just take it. You finally had an episode you completely loved. Yes, and I am. But I'm just saying it also does at the same time make me lament that it took them, at least until episode 5 to really start to get their wheels moving. Whereas a show like House of Dragon was able to come out of the gates firing on all cylinders.
But I also will say this kind of an episode is it's what I always like to say, it's an easy lay for me. It's the kind
Need more words right now.
This episode by design is sexy. It's a sexy episode.
It is a sexy episode.
And the relationship that I love between there we go. Thanks very much. But I would say this. One of the things we love about Lord of the Rings are the characters and the relationships. And my favorite relationship in this, and I think a lot of people's, between two gentlemen of different persuasions, were not in this episode.
Yeah, and yet it was still able to be strong.
Right,
That's good.
But the thing is, will this sustain? Can they sustain this in episodes 7 and 8?
Well, that's the big question, right?
Yeah. And that's all I'd say. I mean, this is a hell of a lot of fun to watch.
And I think it's fair to say, I think when we look back and judge season 1 of Rings of Power, I think ultimately is going to be determined by episode 7 and 8. These will be the determining things that will really tip the scale about how we look back ultimately at season 1. Because right now, I think it's on the precipice. I think it's on the edge of a knife right now. It can go either way.
Oh my God!
What?
Really? The show hasn't been that bad. Come on.
No. I'm not, like I'm saying right now. It's kind of, they've had some super strong episodes now, and they had a couple of super weak episodes. So to me, it can go either way.
I can't wait to see this episode. I'm gonna watch it while I'm cutting the segments later after the show. But yeah,
You're going to cut segments and watch it at the same time?
That's
well,
how
I
he does
mean,
it.
kind of try to. Come on, man.
Listen,
There's
man,
a lot of rendering time that happens.
Yeah.
Well, that's there you go.
All right, guys, question is for you. What did you think about the new episodes of Rings of Power? If you had seen it so far, it's finally one that's made most of us really, really happy. How did you feel about it? And again, don't forget, later today, 3 p.m. Los Angeles time, we will have our Rings of Power after show, open spoiler discussion. Please come on over and have a chat with us when we do. All right, guys. With that down, we're going to take a second and thank another sponsor of our show today, one of our original sponsors, the great folks over at Stamps.com.
We want to take a second and thank a sponsor of this video, Stamps.com. Guys, I know it feels early, but Christmas really is right around the corner. And if you've got a lot of stuff to send to family this year, you got to start thinking ahead. And if you're a small business owner, you know how important it is to be ready for the insane holiday season. Stamps.com has everything you need to make your life a whole lot easier. It's the 24/7 post office that you can access from anywhere. No lines, no traffic, no hassle. Get access to the USPS and UPS services that you need to run your business right from your computer. Protect your margins with major discounts from USPS and UPS rates up to 86% off. All you need is a computer and a printer. We all know that rates are always changing, but with Stamps.com's Switch and Save feature, you can easily compare carriers and rates so you know that you're getting the best deal every single time. And if you're running an online store, Stamps.com works seamlessly with all the major shopping carts and marketplaces. So get ahead of the holiday season chaos this year. Get started with Stamps.com today. Sign up with the promo code CAMPEA for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a free digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts required. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the page, and enter the code CAMPEA.
And thank you to our friends at Stamps.com for sponsoring this episode. And thank you to the creator of the mute button for making sure our mics aren't hot during the ads. All right, we're looking at you, Ray. All right, with that down, guys, let's move on to main topic number 3, shall we? Chris, what is our third main topic today?
This is from Miguel Vega. Hey, John and crew. Big longtime fan. I saw a rumor circulating the internet that Marvel is courting Harrison Ford to play General Ross in the upcoming Thunderbolts movie. I can't help but raise an eyebrow to the hypocrisy here if this is true. Granted, while the recasting of T'Challa certainly comes with more ramifications, shouldn't Marvel be consistent about their stance? Thanks to all of you, and bring on the filthy.
All right, Miguel, thank you so much for saying that in. Let me address something first that's a pet peeve of mine online. The most misused word, I think, in online discourse is hypocrisy. I don't think people actually understand what hypocrisy really means. Hypocrisy is not saying, I don't usually like vanilla ice cream, and then later seeing them eating vanilla ice cream. That's not hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is preaching a message while violating that message yourself. So hypocrisy would be Rob going around constantly on a show saying it is hurtful to our culture and everything. People should not be wearing lays. People should not be doing that. If you wear a lay, you're a terrible person. And then you turn into the John Campea Show and you see him wearing a lay. That's hypocrisy. Now,
Dun, 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 dun.
yeah, there it is. There's your. I didn't mean to say that Robert is a picture of hypocrisy. I'm just saying that's an example of
said before.
That's an example. Saying like a show saying doing one thing one way and then making another decision in a totally different situation. That's not hypocrisy. It may be inconsistency, but it's not hypocrisy. Okay, let's get back to the story at hand. So of course, William Hurt, passed away. Can no longer be Thunderbolt Ross. He was an incredible Thunderbolt Ross. I also love Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott.
Yeah.
I
From
didn't say Sam Neill.
2003.
I love Sam Elliott as a Thunderbolt Ross as well. Actually, he was a really good Thunderbolt Ross.
Yep.
But what Hurt evolved that character into, then being, I think, the Secretary of Defense or something like that. Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, can't remember which one he was. He did a great job with it, but he's not there anymore. You know, we unfortunately lost one of our great actors. But I have always contended, as I contended with T'Challa, that I thought they should have just recast T'Challa. They didn't. That's fine. I respect their reasoning. I think you should recast Thunderbolt Ross if your story called for more Thunderbolt Ross. You know, you don't, in my opinion, you don't shut down, like if a car assembly plant, if a guy who runs, one of the mechanisms passes away, you don't shut down the car assembly plant. The show goes on and you remember them, you honor them, all that kind of stuff, but you also have to, the show goes on. The business has to keep moving forward. And if you still have stories to tell with Thunderbolt Ross, recast them. Now, there is a rumor going around right now that Marvel was looking at Harrison Ford to be the new Thunderbolt Ross. Now, I always tell you guys, look at where a story comes from. Well, where this one is coming from is actually a guy you've competed against that I've worked with before, Jeff Schneider. He's formerly of Variety and things like that. Jeff actually almost worked with me. again, outside of the AMC Collider thing.
I like Jeff a lot.
Yeah, I think he's quite good at what he does.
Yeah.
He's quite good at what he does. The only reason, honestly, really, I'm going to give you guys some inside baseball. The only reason he and I didn't start working together again is I straight up told him, I said, dude, you're overqualified. I straight, and I believe that.
What does that say about
I was
us?
going to say.
I mean,
It was for something different, okay? It was for something different.
sure.
It was for something completely different. But he's really quite good. Not that Jeff has always been 100% on things he said. Very few are 100%, but he gets a lot of credible information.
Yeah.
And he definitely has some good inside sources. Again, don't always take what he's able to say as gospel because we don't know the people who are saying it to him. But he's been right a lot of times. So he's been reporting this. Now, this comes to us from the folks over at Screen Rant who wrote the following. There is now a rumor that Harrison Ford could join the Thunderbolts cast as General Ross. Former Variety reporter Jeff Snyder revealed the information on his podcast, The Hot Mic. According to Snyder, Ford is or was being considered by Marvel to take over Hurt's role as General Ross in Thunderbolts. He even said that his source indicated it was a done deal before D23, but that Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy stepped in to block the announcement to keep Ford's spotlight on Indiana Jones 5 instead of joining the MCU. And that comes to us from the folks at Screen Rant. Okay. Again, we give a giant grain of salt and an asterisk here saying we are not claiming that this is actually true. It may not be true. Jeff may have been given some bad information, whatever. But let's discuss this with the assumption that it's true for the moment, all right? If this is true, it's an inspired choice. Harrison Ford playing Thunderbolt Ross would be an incredible choice. He would fit that character very well. Now, you know me, I don't care about X actor and X role. But if this report is true, it's a very good choice. He's one of the great actors of our generation, maybe of all time. And just as far as fit goes, I mean, Harrison Ford is the living grandpa yelling at clouds in the sky and telling kids to get off his lawn. Kids. I mean, he would be great to bring that kind of energy to a Thunderbolt Ross. I think would be absolutely fantastic. I think it would be great. So that works for me. Now, if the other part of the story is true, that it's already a done deal, and I know there are going to be some people that get angry at it, that say they were going to announce it at D23, but Kathleen Kennedy stepped in and said, time out. We are here to celebrate Indiana Jones. We want all the attention of this to be on Indiana Jones. You know what? I'm going to say something might shock you. I would actually agree with her.
I would too.
I completely agree with her. I mean, would it have been a big major announcement? Absolutely would have been. Do I think I, as somebody tuning into D23, would have liked hearing that? Absolutely. But the Indiana Jones stuff, and they dropped the trailer, which probably most of you have seen by now, that's huge stuff. And guess what? Whenever you drop the news of Harrison Ford joining it, if that's happening and if that's true, it's going to be a massive headline stealer whenever it happens anyway. Notwithstanding something like Jeff Snyder leaking the news out early and people finding out before Disney can make an announcement. So if it is true, I dig it. And if it's true about D23, I understand it. Anyway, Rob, you're hearing these reports. Theoretically speaking, what would you think if we're going to go on the assumption that the report is true? What would you think about Harrison Ford playing Thunderbolt Ross? And then what do you think about the idea that they were going to announce it at D23, but Kathleen Kennedy stepped in?
Well, I mean, obviously, I think he would be great to play it. I just worry that he's in his 80s now.
Yeah.
And if you're going to, not that I don't want to be ageist, but the fact of the matter is, if you're going to have a Thunderbolt Ross character that's going to be in multiple Thunderbolt movies, wouldn't you want a younger actor that could maybe play the character for another 10 years? Maybe.
Not necessarily.
I just think that Harrison Ford, as an 80-year-old, it gets to the point where it strains credulity. However, he's a very fit 80-year-old.
Yes,
and I
he
could
is.
absolutely believe, I mean, not that I've actually watched any leaked trailers, but damn, he looks good as an old Indiana Jones. And I would believe that he could play Thunderbolt Ross.
Now, just want to throw this out here to keep in mind. William Hurt was 71.
And he
So
died.
he was younger and he died. So, I mean, just because you get somebody younger doesn't necessarily mean
it's
you're
true.
safe. It's part of life. And By the way, who says there is going to be a Thunderbolts 2? Who says that's
yeah.
they're going to be that? I mean, but I do see your point. But the other thing too is this: I don't think that this is going to be a role that's going to require a lot of physicality.
No, it's not going to.
Yeah, so I think we're probably safe there if it's true. Anyway, Chris, you hear about this? Let me ask you. What do you think the likelihood that this is true? And then if it is true, how would you feel about, but it almost feels unfair at this point because then Harrison Ford is going to be the star of the 3 biggest franchises in history, Indiana Jones, Star Wars, and the MCU. It almost seems unfair, but what would you think of him?
That seems perfectly fair for Harrison Ford.
That's true.
Go get it, Harrison. I love that for you. I'm kind of on Rob's camp of, he seems, can we let him rest? If he wants to do this, that's
Can
great.
we let him rest?
It's fine. But who I thought would be a really great replacement, if you are going to replace, and I do understand our viewers' question too of the consistency issue here, of maybe have like a policy for everyone. I understand characters are different, but I can see why they brought that up. I would bring in Viggo Mortensen. He's got that William Hurt jawline.
Sure, yeah,
he's 68. He's very fit. I mean, that's if I could cast this personally. You can't go.
Since 68.
Yeah. Can you believe that?
Wow.
Well, he is Numenorian, so
Yeah. So he's aging very
being
slowly.
Numenorian, he ages
Exactly.
slower.
yeah.
Or so, oh no, he's 63. Excuse me, 63.
Okay.
But still, he's in his 60s. So I would do that. But I think Harrison Ford would be delightful. He does have that "I'm your grandpa and I'm going to punch your face" kind of thing, that works for Thunderbolt. I think that'd be really, really wonderful. Sam Elliott, I think you could always go back to that well too if you want to. But he's 78, I think. So.
Yeah, but you saw him in Parks and Rec. He still looks great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And in
he's spry.
1883, like look, he was able to do the stuff in 1880. He's still riding horses.
He was
and stuff.
great in that,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, he was fantastic in that. But again, we're about to see Harrison Ford do action sequences. And now, granted, they shot this movie 19 years ago, but still, it's just, I mean, so I don't know. I feel good about it.
Taylor wasn't even born.
He's like, who's Harrison Ford?
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, let's assume for a second that this is true. Like maybe it won't be. We'll find that out. But if it is, how would you feel about Harrison Ford playing Thunderbolt Ross? Do you think maybe they should go with a slightly younger actor to maybe give them some more time to play the role? I don't know. How do you guys feel about it? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 4. Chris, what is our 4th main topic today?
This comes from Joachim from Norway. Sorry if I butchered your name.
Joaquin?
Hello, crew. So Armor Wars is getting retooled from a Disney Plus series into a movie, according to The Hollywood Reporter. This will probably delay the project, which is set to connect with Secret Invasion and Cheadle as a guest star in said show. I think this move seems to show confidence and perhaps the scale of the project, and it would save us the time of waiting for a fan to do a movie edit that it's better than the show. I'm looking at you, Obi-Wan. What are your thoughts? Thanks for bringing on the filthy.
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in. And this is news that started kind of flooding in as we were doing open mic yesterday. A bunch of people started writing in saying this had happened. So Armor Wars. This has been a very, very interesting idea because the question becomes, what happens when super advanced weapons technology, Stark's technology, starts getting into the wrong hands? Especially now that Tony Stark isn't the one that can be there to protect and safeguard that technology and those secrets and things like that. Now, I thought they did a great job setting up this series, and maybe they weren't, but I thought they were, and I'm going to stay by it's my headcanon, that at the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier, when we see Sharon Carter, who I think is one of the best heel turns we've ever seen in the MCU, Sharon Carter coming out of Congress and saying, "Yep, I'm in." And now she has access to all the technology. I personally felt like that was their setup for Armor Wars. Now, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was a totally separate thing, but I think we're going to see her in it, and that's going to play a key part in it. You made a joke about Obi-Wan. I'm not so sure you're terribly far off. This move to being a movie, I think, might be reflective of two seemingly opposite, but actual synergistic concepts. That number one, they really do believe in the base story of Armor Wars. I think they know they've got a great story here, and therefore feel like, you know what? Let's give this thing the motion picture treatment. But number two, it also suggests to me that maybe they, after Obi-Wan or others, they sat down, they looked at it and says, does this really need to be a series? Does this story need to be drawn out over 4.5, 5, 6 hours? Or do we have a killer beginning, middle, and end, less filler, more killer, like a really strong, solid motion picture here? And I think those two ideas can both be true. I think they probably looked at it the same way, that hey, this is a great base story, and let's cut away a lot of the bullshit. Let's cut away a lot of that nonsense and just really boil it down, pour more dollars per minute into this thing. Like, instead of investing $100 million into 5 hours of screen time, let's pour $120 million into 2 hours of screen time, double up the dollars per minute spent. Let's really make this thing a spectacle and go for it. I think this is a terrific idea. I think this is great. And I actually do believe this might be a little bit in response to some of the stuff we've seen from Disney Plus and going, this might be our better approach. Now, an important thing that they're saying here is that this is going to be theatrical. They're saying it's going to be theatrical, and that's important. This comes to us from The Hollywood Reporter, who said the following. Marvel Studios is shaking up its Armor Wars project, and now what was to have been a series for Disney Plus will be redeveloped as a feature film. The movie essentially pushes back the title further down the development slate. Sources say that the studio was committed in getting the story told the right way, and in that process realized that a feature was better suited for the project. Like all Marvel movies, it is intended for a theatrical release. There was some question about whether it would still be straight to Disney Plus. Apparently, it is going to be for theatrical release. Don Cheadle, who's reprising his longtime Marvel Cinematic Universe role as Colonel James Rhodey Rhodes, a.k.a. War Machine, remains on board to star. Yasser Lester, who was acting as the head writer of the series, will remain as its featured scribe. So, Chris, we're finding out that this Armor Wars series is now going to be Don Cheadle's, finally, his starring vehicle in the MCU. What do you think about this news?
Friggin' love this. Love Don Cheadle. I love him. I think he's so good in this role. And I do think this speaks to the issue we've had with all of these Disney Plus series, not just Marvel, but the Disney Plus series as a whole, Star Wars included here. We have these shows that the runtime of it doesn't make sense, where either we have these abrupt endings that we rush like Moon Knight, right? And we try to get a whole bunch of story in there really quickly, or we've got things that drag and need to be tightened up like Hawkeye. So I think doing this is a really, really smart move. And also, you have a bona fide movie star here. I know we've had a lot of that in the TV shows as well, and a lot of these shows do have that kind of cinematic scale, but this is something I've wanted to see on a big screen anyway. So I'm really, really excited that he's going to have his moment in the sun front and center. I think it's going to be wonderful.
Now, look, obviously Don Cheadle is a megastar. We can sit here and list a dozen things that he's fantastic in. But I really got to emphasize to people, if you have not seen Hotel Rwanda, if you want to really appreciate how great Don Cheadle is, treat yourself. I mean, it's a hard watch, but treat yourself and watch Hotel Rwanda. You'll look at him differently. Anyway, Rob, you were with me when we started seeing the news start to come in about they're moving Armor Wars from a Disney Plus series to a full feature film. What do you think about this?
Well, as you know, I've read the scripts for Secret Invasion.
Yes.
And Don Cheadle, Rhodey plays a big part in that. By the way, great. I mean, if you want sci-fi espionage, it's really, really, really good. The scripts are great. So this does not surprise me after the events of Secret Invasion that they would want to bolster this property, because I think Secret Invasion could have been an incredible film, but it's going to be a great series, maybe my favorite Marvel series to date. So this does not surprise me that they're doing this, because who doesn't want, Marvel has leaned into various, I think what they want to recapture what they had in Winter Soldier and Civil War, that kind of tone.
Yeah.
And I think they certainly have it with Secret Invasion. And I think with Armor Wars, it ups the stakes in terms of, because basically this armor, it's not nuclear, but the balance of power around the world. Like, I'm always talking about, what is the world situation? What is the geopolitical situation in the world? And I think both Secret Invasion and Armor Wars will go a long way toward dealing with that. And I think that it's going to be great. I mean, it's going to bring in Riri Williams, I'm sure, going to be a major player, along with Don Cheadle, who is really the only person that we know of that has a Stark suit that already is a big part of the MCU. I can't wait for this, dude. I think it sounds great. I think Don Cheadle is great. I've always loved him. And giving him front and center. I mean, who would have thought that the man who replaced Terrence Howard is now going to be frontlining? He replaced Terrence Howard to play Rhodey, and now he's going to be the front and center star of both a series and a movie. I think it's great.
I think they kind of hinted a little bit back even when Terrence Howard saw the one, what was the Mach 2 at the time, goes, "Another
Next time, baby."
Next time, baby.
Yeah.
So they kind of foreshadowed. I'm going to throw out a theory. Ready? Wild. We got to get a title card for this too, Ray, at some point, I think. It is wild.
No thanks.
Unsubstantiated theory time. Here we go. Armor Wars. Again, completely unsubstantiated, completely pulled out of my ass theory, is going to directly lead and have direct connections to X-Men. They're going to look at, the government is now going to be looking, as they have in Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3, the government is looking at Stark's technology. And with more and more superpowered beings in the world, like Man-Bull.
Yeah, where did that come from?
And others. The government is still, the U.S. government is thinking about security. Stark's technology is going to become the basis for their Sentinel program. And it will become the basis of their response to dealing with the mutant threat. And I think there's going to be again, wild theory time.
I like that idea.
There's going to be a direct connection between Armor Wars and what we've got coming up.
I
with
like it, but I hate it for Tony's legacy. It makes me sad.
Yeah.
And by the way, how long before they change the title to Iron Man 4?
I don't think they will.
No, man.
They're making another Captain America movie. Why not call it Iron Man Armor Wars?
I think
This is a phase 6, right? This is supposed to be phase 6.
2024.
Well, all they've said is that they are pushing the development date. So this is not going to come out when they were kind of originally aiming
phase
for the
5
series to
is
come out.
booked.
So I think at minimum it'll probably be phase 6.
I'm just thinking that in terms of it was as a series, it was called Armor Wars, but as a movie, you have a legacy there that directly is Tony Stark's legacy.
Mm-hmm.
So why not Iron Man Armor Wars? Why not put that? Because Don Cheadle is essentially the new Iron Man.
But he's not the new Iron Man, right?
He's the War Machine, baby.
He's still War
he's
Machine.
War Machine.
I understand, but
Come on, Rob.
By the way, we're talking about
What if
ages
it's War
of
Machine Iron Legacy?
Iron Legacy. Ooh, that's
I like
not
that.
bad.
I kinda
Call
like
me,
that.
Kevin.
Or just call it Iron Legacy. I like that too.
That's not bad.
By the way, we were just talking about ages a little bit earlier. This will finally be Don Cheadle's first outing, as he will be 60 when this movie comes out.
Yeah,
He's
but he got
57
robot
right now.
legs.
Yeah, but he's younger than Tom Cruise.
That's true. And it's going to, most of his action stuff, like Robert Downey Jr.'s, will be in CGI.
Yeah.
So, I mean, listen, I think this is
He's
great.
all about that superhero life.
We're all about that superhero life, new girl.
Nice pull.
Look, I think sounds great. I love the confidence they're showing into it. And again, we're looking at a doubling. Like, a lot of people still don't understand the difference between TV and a movie. It's like, well, they're going to spend $100 million on it anyway, so they'll have the same production value. No, you can't look at it like that. You have to look at it as dollars per minute. And this property, Armor Wars, now suddenly is going to double in its dollars per minute it has available to it to make the best production they can. And I think that's pretty damn exciting. All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Don Cheadle is finally going to get his own headline MCU film. Armor Wars is no longer going to be a Disney Plus series. It's rather going to be a theatrical film. How do you guys feel about that? Good news, bad news? We love it. Maybe you don't. Whatever you think, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, we're now going to open up our super chats, and it is time to hear from you. What are your thoughts, theories, opinions, questions, whatever? Send them on in on the super chats now. Remember, we only do keep them open for a couple of minutes. We'll be closing them down soon, so get those in as quickly as you can, and we will address those in the second half of the show. But before we get to those, we want to take a second and thank one of our main sponsors here on the show, my cell phone service provider. You got to try them out, the good folks at Mint Mobile.
Hey guys, we want to thank the sponsor of today's episode, Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month. And now for the plot twist. I'm just kidding, there isn't one. Seriously, Mint Mobile just has premium wireless service from $15 a month. There's no trapping you into a 2-year contract or opening the bill to find these crazy fees. There's no luring you in with free subscriptions to streaming services that you'll forget to cancel and be charged full price for. I used to dread opening my phone bill every month because every time I was opening it, it was like playing roulette roulette. I never knew what the actual price was going to be, and it always seemed to get higher. But not with Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text, plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. And if you're worried about the complication of switching things over, don't. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your phone number along with all your existing contacts. So guys, get premium wireless from just $15 a month and no unexpected plot twists at mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Seriously, you'll make your wallet very happy at mintmobile.com/Campea.
And thank you to our friends at Mint Mobile for making my monthly cell phone bill a hell of a lot cheaper, and for giving me great service, and for being a sponsor of the John Campea Show. Remember, guys, when you support our sponsors, you're actually supporting us. So make sure you go down to the description of this video. Right near the top, you're going to see links and the promo codes for all of our sponsors. Go and check those guys out, because you're helping the show when you do. All right. With that now down, guys, let's get into our live viewer questions. And by the way, for those of you who are our beloved channel members, we've been gathering up the channel member chats that you guys send in, and we've been addressing those in their own standalone videos. I've been asking the channel members. You guys seem to really be liking that, so we're going to do that again today and maybe next week as well. So if you are a channel member and you had one of those free channel chats and you sent it in today, keep your eyes open on the channel a little bit later, because they're going to be answered in its own video. So let's get on over to the super chats. Chris, what do we have?
So from Hadrian Lear, some support. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hadrian.
From Suthius, I'd rather be slammed on hard pavement over and over than see another second of Jones's Iron Fist. He was not good, and his martial arts was lackluster. Not believable. Definitely bring back Henwick.
Well, sorry, my wife just delivered something for me. Thank you, baby.
You're married
And
to
for
Taylor?
those of you not knowing, Taylor is not my wife. Anne literally showed up and handed this
Secrets
to
out.
Again, if you replaced Finn Jones with another actor, it would have been the same dialogue, the same lines, the exact same things happen. But I am acknowledging, and I agree, there is baggage that comes along if you make it Finn Jones. There is. Now, do they want to deal with that anyway? Maybe. But again, and I would be with you. I don't think these are the same Netflix characters in the MCU. I think they are different versions of them anyway. So you can go out and get a new actor, because again, if you bring in Finn Jones, you're just bringing a lot of drama in with you. So, but we'll see what happens. All right. Thanks for that, man. What's next?
From My Comic Planet. Oh, wait, sorry. TJ Thomas.
There you go.
Pray for Tua?
Oh, yeah.
I thought that
Yep, the Miami Dolphin quarterback. I mean, I haven't heard anything new, but he took a really bad hit yesterday, or on Sunday. Or Thursday night. He didn't get hit in the head. What happened was a totally legal tackle, where the guy tackled him around the waist and then threw him down to the ground as he was falling. But you could see in the replay as his head did this slap off the ground.
Yeah.
It was real hard. And
wow.
They took him to the hospital. They said everything was good when he was in the hospital. They were even going to release him that night, but it was a scary, scary hit. Now, I haven't heard of anything new, but here's obviously hoping he recovers from that real quick. All right, what's next?
From My Comic Planet, Bruce Willis becomes the first Hollywood star to sell his likeness rights to use with deepfake technology, allowing his face to continue appearing in films. I'm starting to get concerned for Mr. Willis.
Here's the thing. That's been misreported. I saw the headlines, and the reason we didn't cover this as a story yesterday is the headlines ran, Bruce Willis can continue appearing in films because he sold his digital likeness. But that was a lot of outlets just copying it from the first story. But when you actually read the original story says nothing about Bruce Willis selling his likeness to be used in future movies. The story itself specified that it was talking about he leased his digital likeness to this commercial firm for a French television commercial. So reading the story, I saw nothing in it at all talking about this allows them to use his likeness in future films. And there was none of that. So that's why we didn't run this story yesterday. But it's still the first time that he's going to be appearing in this commercial while never actually being on set to be in the commercial. Mm-hmm. Apparently he was still participating virtually, but yeah, it is an interesting thing. And with James Earl Jones licensing out the rights to his voice pattern for Star Wars to use in the future. I mean, it's a whole new era.
Yeah,
All right.
well, especially given Bruce Willis's, health concerns right now, it makes a lot of sense for him to do this for him and his family.
And he's officially retired from acting.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. What's next?
Alex von Gollum, team, seeking authorization to change Stellan's name to Stellar Skarsgård. Do you concur? He's spectacular in Andor, floored by what he brings to it.
It's got to be frustrating when you're a big star, like a couple of the Skarsgård kids are. And you're a big star, and you realize, I'll never be as big as Dad. I'll never be as good as Dad. I'll never be as big as Dad. And there's still probably more women in this world who would love to have Dad than me.
Well, it's a great goal to shoot up for, right?
Yeah,
To shoot
it
for,
gives you a
so.
big thing. Like I used to joke about that about Julio Iglesias. And it's like Dad will always be better than me. He will always have the bigger career. I mean, that's the thing. Stellan's got some incredibly gifted kids. He really, really does. I
my
love a
gosh.
lot of
Yeah, like
kids.
his son, Mr. the Northman, Mr.
Yeah.
Succession,
Mr.
Alexander,
Future
Bill.
yeah, Mr.
He's
True,
amazing.
True
Listen,
Blood.
and he's got talent in that family like crazy. But Big Daddy keeps got to prove, and he's Big Daddy. And
God.
he is world-class actor. Like, he's world-class. Everything he's in, he's just like, holy shit, that guy is a master at this. And yeah, he's amazing. He's amazing. All right, what's next?
From Al Renshaw, did the crew watch the football game yesterday? Prayers for Tua and the Dolphins have some explaining to do.
I don't see why the Dolphins have any explaining to do. Like, look, for those of you who don't know, just so I'll give you a little rundown for the people in the sports world, what they're talking about. In the previous game, Tua took a hit and he got up and staggered. He had taken a hit to the head. So they took him off the field. They put him through concussion protocol and he returned to the game. They said in the official report, the medical report was that he staggered because his back was hurt. It wasn't because he lost his functionality up here. So they said he was cleared, so they put him back in the game. Now, there are some people saying the reason he got hurt yesterday was because he got hurt the week before. And I call pure bullshit on that. When you look at that hit, the slamming of his head on the ground yesterday or Thursday, anybody who took that hit, whether they got hurt the week before or not, was going to get taken off on a stretcher.
Yeah.
That him being taken off on a stretcher yesterday had nothing to do with what happened the week before. Anybody taking that slamming of the head against the ground the way Tua took it yesterday, they were getting carted off. I don't care if it was their first game of the season or not. So I think that's total bull. I think it's total
The
bull.
defensive line has some explaining to do.
The offensive line.
The
offensive line has some explaining to do. Yes. All right. What's next?
From Andy, Sir Kristen Cole talking to Rhaenyra in episode 5. Run away and marry me. Sir Kristen Cole talking to Allison about Rhaenyra in episode 6. A spoiled C word.
I'm telling you, there's nobody on television other than Nate and Ted Lasso that I want to see die a horrible, murderous death more.
Then who?
Nate first.
Then Kristen Cole.
Nate first, and then Kristen. That's the order in which horrible.
I think I'm behind one episode. I mean, did he do something really bad? I mean,
No, just watch the next episode.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
don't.
Yeah,
we
just
don't-
watch the next episode. Just
well,
watch the next episode.
You'll see a change.
All right.
All right, what's next?
From Jay Bling, remember when Sean Levy said he intended to be the lucky SOB to direct a movie with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman? He knew then, right?
He totally knew. He totally knew. Look, no, they have been planning this for years. They have known for years they're doing this, which is great. And they have built up to this. They have done all this stuff. And guess what? It worked.
It's not
when
like
they
he didn't
announced
tell
it-
us in the previous Deadpool movies.
Well, yeah. I mean, this has been so obvious for so long that this was going to happen. So, but yes, when Sean Levy made that statement, Sean Levy already knew. There's no doubt about that. And it's great. It's awesome. All right, what's next?
This lay is itchy, which is probably not a good sign. Okay.
So many ways to take
Yeah.
that.
I've already been infected.
You don't want an itchy lay.
Sam Fisher. You don't want an itchy lay. The Community movie and Blade situation reminds me of the Psych movie because they were about to start filming when Tim Odmondson had his stroke and they rewrote the script in a hotel room over a weekend.
I've never seen Psych.
I think you would really enjoy it.
Everybody tells me that.
Yeah.
Everybody says not only do they like it, a lot of people tell me, John, it's your kind of show. You would really like it.
I know you think that Logan and I are like Nick and Jess from New Girl. We're really like Gus and Sean. That's like Sean. That's more so who we are as a couple.
I'm sticking with Nick and Jess.
That's fair. That's fair.
But I'll have to check out Psych. At some point, I'm going to have to check it out. All right, what's next?
From Ryder, hope Morbius's jokes won't be outdated for Deadpool 3. Hope Morbius jokes won't be outdated for Deadpool 3.
Morbius jokes will never be outdated.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Not enough. I don't think there's going to be any Morbius jokes because not enough people saw Morbius for it to be a popular or hard-hitting joke. That's just the thing. Like, I don't think enough people saw it.
And I wouldn't get it.
I think
It would totally go over Ray's head because he hasn't actually seen the full thing yet.
Unless the Blade movie happens and Deadpool gets to interact with Blade, I don't think we're getting Morbius jokes.
Yeah, I just don't see it happen. It's just
We
not
should
big
get
enough.
Morbius jokes in all movies, no matter what genre it is.
All right, what's
I'm
next?
sorry.
From My Comic Planet, Joel McHale just included Donald and Yvette in his tweet announcing the Community film. The plot thickens. Okay.
Wait a minute. Did he say, Taylor, look this up. Did he say that they are in the movie? Or did he just say, thanks to everybody for making this possible, including blah, blah, blah. Like because that's the world of difference right there. So, which would also make you wonder, why was it not listed in the Variety report? But okay, we'll come back to that once Taylor
I
finds
see
it.
it.
What
4
is it?
hours ago, Joel McHale also mentioned them in the tweet, but it doesn't say anything about it. It's just
Yeah, it's just a
everyone's mentioned in the tweet. He just
Okay, so like nothing about them being in it.
no, but also while I'm on Twitter, Smash Mouth liked my tweet, so I finally made it.
Somebody is famous.
All right, what's next?
From Kay the Specialist, where's the Iron Man 3 kid? Will Riri make him Iron Lad?
I mean, what was the name of that actor again? That kid, the kid who,
Yeah, I
the
can't
kid
remember
went
his
on
name.
to do something else. He
'Cause
appeared in
he's
Endgame.
he's in the funeral scene.
He
yeah.
appears
Yeah.
in the funeral, but nobody recognized him because he's freaking not a little kid anymore.
Right.
Well, look, you don't need to go back to that. That's fine. All right, what's next?
From Tim Platt, Game Day.
Game day.
Literally in this case, as soon as I get off work, I'm booting up the PS4, playing some FIFA 23, which launched today, and playing a match between Wrexham AFC and AFC Richmond.
Wait a minute, is Wrexham in the game?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're a real team.
Because they're a real team.
I know, but they're such a low-level team.
No, they put every team
really
in that game.
So
That's
you
what-
can have Wrexham playing Richmond with Ted Lasso on
Yeah,
this.
That-
what you gotta love about the
I'm-
FIFA series.
I might download
I
this
like
now.
that. That's pretty. I've never played a FIFA game in my life.
They
I
are
might
fun.
have to go get
they
that.
are fun.
PlayStation 4. Pshaw.
Wow, Rob. You serious,
That's
bro?
hurtful.
You know what?
I
Take the
keep
layout.
trying to
Say
get
that.
one. I keep trying so hard to get one.
A PlayStation 4?
A PlayStation 5.
Oh,
That's
okay,
why
yes.
he's
That's what I was. Yes.
Hmm.
Oh,
You know what? We should do a PlayStation 5 giveaway.
to me.
To me. Oh.
Jonathan and I fight to the death for a PlayStation
Okay,
5.
well, guys, you heard it. I was going to do a PlayStation 5 giveaway, but apparently...
It's not like you ever use the internal drive in your PlayStation 5.
no,
Well,
she's
who needs
pure.
it? Who needs it? All right, what's next?
From Josh Becker. I saw Bros and thought it was hilarious. Yes.
Here's the funny
It's
thing.
so good.
Here's the funny thing. It looks stupid as fuck. I mean, when they showed us, and I hate saying that because I love Eichner. In just about everything I've seen. Like his voice in Lion King was awesome. I love him in Parks and Rec. I love him in a lot of stuff. But when they showed us that preview at CinemaCon, I never even grinned. Like it just was not funny. But the last I checked, this thing's got like a 95%.
Well, some people
It's
here have
so
seen
good.
it.
Yeah.
And a couple of people in this room have seen it and apparently loved it.
It was amazing.
And I'm thinking, well, then I'm gonna have to give this a shot.
what, bros?
Yeah. It's
That
so
movie
funny.
made all of my cheeks hurt from laughing so hard.
Yeah. It was so good. And there's some really beautiful heartfelt moments in it too. There's some really
Yeah.
great rom-com
Ray just
tropes
got
that work really
Just
well.
destroyed
So like the
gun.
audience rating, the critic rating, all super high. I think I'm gonna have to go check it out.
Billy Eichner crushed
I mean,
it.
I gotta see Smile first.
He co-wrote it, didn't he? Billy Eichner?
Yeah. All right. What's next?
From Jedediah Elias, with Wolverine now in Deadpool 3, any chance Robert Downey Jr. could make a cameo in the Armor Wars movie? Would boost interest in it given its connection to the Iron Man series.
Well, listen, Wolverine and Hugh Jackman has nothing to do with Robert Downey Jr. Listen, I've been telling you for years, Robert Downey Jr. is going to be back. He will be back. It might be this year, might be next year, might be in 3 years. He will be back. Him and Chris Evans both you take every dollar you want and you take that to the bank. He will be back.
Have you ever seen Robert Downey
yeah.
Jr. on Joe Rogan when
Yes.
Joe Rogan
Yep.
says,
Well, they
"Come
just-
on, you're gonna come," and Downey Jr. is like, come on, would you really want to see that? And Rogen's like, yes, I would. Come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, did anybody ever see Andrew Garfield denying he was in Spider-Man No Way Home? Yeah, no, he'll be back. He will 100% be back. All right, what's next?
Doolittle 3.
What did he say?
Doolittle 3.
Did they skip 2?
They
This went straight to 3?
Skip 2 and go right to 3.
Look, a sequel. Come on. Didgovy? The director is saying that the director was actually fired from Blade, and they are rewriting the entire script from scratch with Beau DeMayo, Moon Knight, now working on it.
Yeah, that's not what I've heard. I heard. Now, I've also not heard that there was heavy drama. But I've heard he has just up and left. I did not. So wherever the director's hearing, and they may be hearing the correct information, and I may be hearing the wrong information. That's happened. So totally could be. I don't know firsthand. Kevin Feige didn't get on the phone with me and tell me this directly. But from what I have heard, no, he was not fired. He left. But whatever. It's semantics at some point. All right, what's next?
From Edgar Magnan, we need a remake of American Werewolf in London. OG is a classic, though.
I'm okay if they don't do a remake of it, just because I saw what they did when they tried to make American Werewolf in Paris. And if that's the quality of stuff that you're going to do, just leave well enough alone. But look, you know me. Remake everything. I don't care, because if it's good, we've got another good movie. If it's bad, I've still got the original.
You got
So
the
I don't
laser
care.
disc. You're good.
What's
Yeah,
that?
you do.
You got the laser disc. You're good.
And I've literally, it's covered in, it's covered in a lot of stuff here. But I literally have the laser disc that Robert Meyer Burnett got me.
Why is it covered in stuff? Rob, what did
really-
you do?
It's a sexy laser disc.
It is a sexy laser disc.
Why is this disc so sticky?
Oh, no.
No,
Getting physical.
Oh boy.
Cap's so disappointed.
She gets so insulted. She needs to stop watching the show.
I know.
She's just too fragile. All right, what's next?
From Andy, if House of the Dragon follows the books, then it seems that Kristen Cole will get unbearably worse. Boo.
Yeah, I mean, look, they have obviously already taken many liberties. So maybe they'll take more, maybe they won't, but I just want to see him die. I literally want to see him eat something bad and then shit himself to death. I think that would be a lot of fun.
That seems reasonable.
Yep.
I
It's
like that
totally
for him.
reasonable. All right, what's next?
I agree. From DJ Khaled. DJ Khaled. We the best music.
I believe that's him.
I at that price, yes. Going to see a movie based on the Spirit Halloween store should be fun.
Yes. I remember I heard about that and I'm like, I remember we talked about the show. I'm like, wait a minute, is this a real thing? Is this a real thing? And it was. So, all right. And speaking of which, I remember Ann and I were listening to, I think DJ Khaled's got a lot of great songs.
Another one.
Yeah, another one. But man, one of the most annoying things in music is that every one of his songs started with DJ Khaled.
So you know it's him.
Yeah, so I think maybe every day I should start the John Campea Show that way.
I think when you walk in Walmart and the doors open, it should just say that.
You have
When
the
walk
Alan
into a
Horn
Walmart,
play,
DJ
and then-
Khaled for no reason.
So did the Spirit Halloween store just take over the scrap Star Trek movie? Is that how this came to fruition?
I think the whole cast moved over
Oh, nice.
too.
Okay, cool.
More people are probably going to see that movie now.
From Stella McShave. There were
What a
great
dick.
scenes in Rings of Power, but there were some logic and logistic issues that bothered me and took me out of it. It undermined verisimilitude for me.
I didn't notice any at all, to be honest with you. I really didn't.
Bobbert will get into some of that later.
Bobbert?
Bobbert.
I will. Bobbert will.
Yeah, no.
Bobbert
to
speaks
me,
to you.
it flowed perfectly good. But I mean, hey, that's the beauty of the subjective nature of the art. We all notice different things that stand out to us in different ways. All right, what's next?
From Sam Fisher, I have to imagine they're going to use social media videos of the fake Reynolds-Jackman feud in the Deadpool 3 marketing.
Or create new ones.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, this has been a long gestating plan. And in the words of Hannibal, I love it when a plan comes together. So yeah.
A lot of A-Team happening this week.
A lot of A-Team stuff going on. Absolutely. So yeah, it's so good. But so maybe they will, maybe they won't. But either way, they're going to continue to leverage their social media presence. That's for sure. All right, what's next?
From Mr. Hank Dunn, Logan, you're not alone. I too like Crystal Skull.
Who
Thank
likes
you.
Crystal
I am
Skull?
finally vindicated.
I don't know if vindication
It's you
is
and
the
me,
word,
buddy.
but
It's you and me.
I have said this from the day I saw Crystal Skull.
My
I said,
God,
if you
what have they
take
done?
out the name Indiana Jones and you call it Dr. Pfeiffer and the Incredible Jungle Adventure, it's not a bad little adventure movie. It's just not a very good Indiana Jones movie. I mean, that's how I kind of felt about it, at any rate.
I think it's just kind of mid. It's a pretty mid
Oh my
movie.
God. Did you just?
I did it just for you, Ray.
Oh,
It's Tombstone Pizza good.
Oh.
It's
Tombstone pizza
good.
is shit, but it's still pizza.
All right,
fair.
what's next?
From Bobby Jackson,
That's just not good enough for me.
The Woman King has made 40 million worldwide on a 50 million budget. Do you think it can make a profit for the studio?
No.
It's such a great film, so it's a shame more people haven't seen it.
They really dropped the ball on marketing the film. And not bad marketing. The trailers were solid and all that kind of stuff. They just did not do enough of it. So at this point, you figure probably about a $15 million marketing spend on this because I didn't see a ton of marketing. So you're talking about 65. So you're talking about this movie needing to make in the 100 to $110 million range probably to be profitable. And if it's only made 40 at this point, it ain't about to make 65 more in its waning days. So no, the movie's not going to end up being profitable, but it may be around come awards season time, give some prestige value for the studio and all that kind of stuff, but profitable, probably not, unfortunately, because it deserved it, but it probably won't get it. All right, what's next?
From Andy Tao, sending in a $20 super chat.
Thank you, Andy.
Hello from West Virginia. 1 full year of watching, first time commenting.
Oh, thank you, man.
Thanks for keeping me company through marathon training and hours of studying in college. Shout out to my fellow Filipino Ray.
yeah. Hey, I wanted to say something. Where was he from again? Where is
West
he?
Virginia.
West Virginia.
You know,
almost
big
heaven.
Filipino population.
We stayed.
West
No.
Virginia.
That's where Uncle Tony he used to live. They used
Tino
to live.
Tony
in, like,
lived out there?
Yeah. When we stayed at his house, they had a basement, and I've never been so terrified in my life. It was like one of the old houses, but it was huge. West Virginia, the greenest hills you ever see.
It's almost heaven.
Yeah, it's so great. The air is so nice over. I mean, I gotta
Nothing.
say,
Don't got
West
that.
Virginia is a good looking.
Take me
Home,
home,
country
country road.
road.
Okay, that's it.
Well, thank you so much for that, Andy. Thanks for watching the show.
good. Yeah,
Thank you
exactly
for
the same.
sending in your support. And salamat, my friend.
Oh,
All right, what's next?
Dropping that.
Tagalog, I'm telling you.
What a flex. What a flex.
All right, what's next?
Joel Roston, if Ford is William Hurt's understudy, then someone like John David Washington could have been the same for Chadwick Boseman. Understudy is a better theater term than recast. But that's not what it is, because an understudy is there to step in should you fall ill and you aren't completely replaced.
Yeah,
typically.
you're coming back.
A recast means, and we do that in theater. They're doing that currently with, the Broadway show with Lea Michele.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny Girl. It's a recast. They recast the role, so it's different. I understand what you're saying, but an understudy is there in case you fall ill and in case you need a day off and in case of something.
And by the way, it didn't have to be John David Washington. There's many, many great actors who could have taken over the role as well.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
From Jonathan Vigoa, one of two. Possible MCU adaptation of Deadpool kills the Fox universe. After Deadpool 2, TVA abducts Deadpool because of an incursion caused by him time traveling.
Okay, never mind. Let's go back. All right. So again, I just don't think they're going to do that. I don't see them doing that. You'd also have to get a lot of actors in that movie for that. I don't think that what they're going to want to do, even though they're going to be totally willing to be rated R, I don't think what they want to have happen is see the most popular Marvel characters getting murdered on screen. So I'm gonna guess no. I don't think they're going to go that way. Animated, you totally could.
Where Ryan Reynolds voicing it.
Yeah,
that'd be
that you
somewhat-
could do.
See, I still think, John, that both Wolverine and Deadpool are in the Fox universe. I think that's where they're going to be at the beginning of the movie. And Deadpool's going to make the transition to the MCU universe, and Wolverine will not.
I think that goes great with my theory that what they should do is make it a road trip movie where they're in the Fox universe, but Deadpool and Wolverine are taking a road trip to the MCU. That is literally their destination.
That's a great idea.
Wolverine doesn't make it all the way.
Maybe that's like a road trip to an incursion.
Take a road trip to an incursion. I mean,
West
lots of different ways you could do it. All right, what's next?
From Christopher Brickner, The Wrap is reporting WB is being sued for allegedly cooking the books to inflate HBO Max numbers by 10 million subs. If true, how bad is this for WB?
We've addressed
talked
this
about
4 different times in the last number of days. Okay, so basically here's the allegations that AT&T, who owned Warner Brothers at the time, that while they were looking at doing the merger of Discovery taking over Warner Brothers, The accusation is that Warner Brothers, at the time under the ownership of AT&T, misled the Discovery shareholders of how many subscribers they had, because at the time AT&T included in their subscriber numbers of HBO Max the number of people who were AT&T customers that got, as a part of their package, free HBO Max, and they included those 10 million numbers. Now, there's going to be several big questions that come up. Number one, was it legal for AT&T to report those numbers? Number two, was disclosure made? And because you got to think, in all the legalese and the disclosures that need to be made, you got to believe that somewhere in the paperwork it was listed. Here's a breakdown of the HBO Max subscribers. And if Discovery didn't look for those numbers, then their legal teams were incompetent. So there's going to be a lot of different questions around here. Could be big. But then at the end of the day, too, a judge is going to have to rule about, okay, let's say they included those AT&T numbers, and then let's say it wasn't legal for them to do that, and it might have been. And then let's say AT&T didn't include in their disclosures that a certain percentage of the HBO Max things were AT&T customers. Let's say all of that. A judge is still going to have to determine if would that have made a difference. That ultimately, a judge is going to have to say if that would have made any difference, or if it looked like, look, the way that deal was happening in between the communications between the two sides, this deal was going to happen whether they included those 10 million subscribers or not. Again, I don't know which way they're going to go. I'm not familiar enough with the case law in this situation. So a lot of big questions that we just don't have answers to. So we'll just have to wait and see. All right, what's next?
From Stubble McShave, Disney don't want another superior fan edited movie.
Well, no, of course, nobody does. Nobody wants another re-edited superior version of the movie. I've only really seen that happen with Obi-Wan. The Obi-Wan edit that one dude did, who reached out to me on Instagram, by the way, the day after we talked about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That fan edit, the guy who took Obi-Wan and sliced like 45 minutes out of it and moved some scenes around and added in a couple of little things, it made for a really good Obi-Wan movie. Way better than the series was. And you're right, Marvel doesn't want to see that happen. All right, what's next?
From Raymond Barada, I understand Rob's idea of using Iron Man armor wars. Rhodey is in the comics did take over the Iron Man suit temporarily when Tony can't.
See, that's one of the big things in the difference, though, whereas Captain America has had in the comic book several people take up that mantle. The same with Black Panther, even though I don't think they should be recasting T'Challa, or they should be recasting T'Challa. Nobody in any real way or in any significant way else wore the mantle of Iron Man other than Tony. And maybe a couple of things where there's some quick temporary things, but to me, that's one of the big differences why I don't think you just have Don Cheadle suddenly be the new Iron Man.
Well, Norman Osborn, when he became the leader of the Dark Avengers.
Did he actually go by the moniker Iron Man, though?
Iron Patriot.
It was Iron Patriot.
Right, so yeah. All right, what's next?
From South Texas Shark, Chris, how was Bros? You can watch our out of the theater reaction of it. Go on Instagram.
All right, what's next?
From A. Marcellus, is it me or was Mon Mothma's husband giving off sleazy vibes? That dude looks like a modern day hipster, LOL.
I love what the line that told me most about him was, why must everything be boring and sad? That to me told me everything about the character.
He is the worst. He's the worst. And I want him to die. Oh, I hate him. I hate him in his stupid half ponytail.
All right, what's next?
From Alex Von Gollum. One of two. Imagine if a movie about the High Republic era was produced with the tone of Andor. For sure, there are aspects of the politics of the era that are not golden. I'd completely lose it. Now I have to go change my pants.
I mean, yes and no, but you could take that approach to any era. You can take that kind of approach and make a political espionage thriller kind of show, and you can put it in any era, whether it's Old Republic, High Republic, New Republic, Post Republic, Empire, wherever. I mean, you can drop that anywhere, and it could theoretically work.
Knights of the Old Republic.
Knights of the Old Republic. So, I mean, yes, for sure, but it doesn't have to be High Republic. All right, what's next?
From Andy, I just realized that the Game of Thrones season 8 battle between the two queens, Daenerys and Cersei, was Sarah Connor versus Sarah Connor.
Yep.
By the way, Hetty was such a great Sarah.
I totally forgot about that. And you're right. Lena was a fantastic Sarah Connor. That show was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
That show was pretty good. I was actually always kind of bummed out that it didn't get continued. All right, what's next?
From Al Renshaw, was excited for the Batman Beyond crew and then saw John. LOL. Is Logan an honorary member? Logan, how do you feel about Batman Beyond? Your marriage
love
depends on
Batman
it.
Beyond.
That's good. That's the right answer.
On the payroll now?
No. You're on mine.
Oh, yeah.
Spicy. All right, what's next?
From
Ease on over to this next question.
from My Comic Planet. Man, that reaction to a, how do you say his last name?
The last.
Tegvolia?
Yeah.
Tagovailoa.
Had after going down the game last night was scary and hard to watch. Hope he's okay.
Yeah, again, from what I read, I saw a thing on ESPN this morning that apparently in hospital, he had movement in all of his extremities, he was conscious, he was good, and that they were actually going, now I don't know if they officially did, but the last I read, which was late last night, they said he was going to be released from hospital yesterday. So apparently he's good. I doubt we'll see him back on the field for a few weeks, though. All right, what's next?
From Fangblaze71, what's y'all's favorite Iron Man suit?
The one that's on screen whenever I'm watching.
Mark II,
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Mark 43.
the all silver one where he takes the test without any of the weapons on it. That's my favorite Iron Man suit right there.
As far as design, they're all fine. They're all fine. But as far as functional, I hate the magic nanotech suits. I hate those. I like the actual Iron Man suits, like Mark II, Mark III, like all the kind of things. Not the I have these magical nanobots. That
So you didn't
let
like
me
the
do
suitcase one?
magic. What's that?
You didn't like the suitcase one?
I
That
love
wasn't
the
bad.
This one I can
suitcase.
even deal with the suitcase.
That's the
one.
Mark
That,
5.
yeah.
That's a transformer. I can even deal with that one, but like I'm just not big. The movies are still great and the character's still great. And I still enjoyed it very, very much. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, this idea that now he's literally a wizard now. Like his
You're
they
a wizard,
can have
Annie.
him. They can have Iron Man do any kind of supernatural witchcraft, and they just say nanobots.
Telling
Yeah.
you, yo.
Oh yeah, you know nanobots.
That's all science is.
Yeah, nanobots.
It's just witchcraft, though.
That's
We
how
don't
it happens.
understand.
My nanobots. All right, what's next?
From Blake62, it's been nearly 3 years, and it's pretty clear the Disney Plus shows have been a net plus for the Star Wars brand. Not as sure they have for Marvel?
What? I don't
A net-
understand that at all.
A net loss? A
Have
net
been
plus?
a net plus for the Star Wars brand. Not as sure that they have for Marvel. But is that true? I mean, Marvel, they had WandaVision, they had Ms. Marvel, both are which like AA plus things. But also on the Star Wars side, yeah, you had Mandalorian, and Andor's going really well. Like this might be my favorite thing they've done. But you also had the Book of Boba Fett. You also had Obi-Wan. So I'm not sure it's as clear as you might think it is. But that's just my take on it. All right, what's next?
From Michael Serda, till this day, I still don't understand why we have a shot-for-shot remake of Psycho. Same, bud.
I don't either.
Yeah, the shot. I mean, if you're going to remake it, take a new approach to it.
Yeah.
It's very
Do-
odd.
Yeah, but whatever. All right, what's next?
From Jedediah Elias, if we don't get a Blade Runner-style Jurassic Park movie set in the distant future where dinosaurs have taken over and humans are becoming extinct, what was even the point of continuing this franchise?
I'm with you, buddy.
But are you saying that the dinosaurs should become intelligent like Caesar? Should they become intelligent and start like you have dinosaur mathematicians and
No.
They were going to do, Jonathan Batul, who wrote The Last Starfighter, directed a movie that starred Whoopi Goldberg with a dinosaur.
Oh yes.
Now,
very familiar.
the
with this.
original original script of that was just like Blade Runner, and it was a hardcore sci-fi epic where the dinosaurs were smart. Then they turned it into that movie, which I didn't understand because I love that script. And I'm trying to. I covered that script. I'm trying to think of what the name of that script was, but I forget.
So weird that you mentioned Last Starfighter. I literally was just thinking about that during the show.
I
Yeah, well, there
love
you go.
that movie.
Yeah,
I love the
Where's
Last
that
Starfighter.
remake or reboot or
Yeah.
They've been
continuation?
trying. They've
Forever,
been trying
yeah.
for a while to get that going. That is a movie. That is the most prime movie set to be remade. Like it would. That is a movie that is served better in today's context with the popularity of video games, the modern technology can use. Last Starfighter is one they should absolutely be doing. All right, what's next?
From Seconds from Disaster, I hope Armor Wars has legs in the box office. Get it? Legs? Now see myself out.
I
Seconds.
don't get it.
Because
Because of Rhodey
He has
being
his legs.
hurt.
He has legs.
He has his legs.
Yeah, but
It's not like he lost his
yeah,
legs.
I know.
And he
What
can
if it's-
still use his legs. He just needs a little help. Yeah, no, didn't quite work. Didn't quite work. I pronounced that one
That was a joke from Disaster.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
From Jay Master, Hugh Jackman took to his Instagram to post a picture of himself that he has already begun training for Deadpool 3. Chris, I saw Hocus Pocus 2. It's really good. It's better than the original movie. Is it? Because so far, everything I've seen, and I love Hocus Pocus, but everything I've seen of this, I've gone, oh no, why? But I hope you're right. I hope that I feel the same way.
Yeah, I saw some pictures of Hugh Jackman. Which only doubles down the thing that he's been prepping for this for a while, because he didn't start lifting again yesterday. He's looking really good. He's looking really good. He's been prepping for this
Good,
for a long
because
time.
gosh, that guy's usually such a heifer.
Well, I mean, when you go back to that movie he had on HBO where he was the school principal, that
Oh,
basically
yeah.
the true story, right? When you saw him in that, you realize, whoa, he really slimmed down. Like he had slimmed down a lot. He looked very normal. Going from that guy to the pictures I've seen of him recently, no, he's been training for a while. He's like, again, they've known this is coming for a long time, so he's been getting prepped for it. He's looking great. I mean, not the way he looked in that one Wolverine movie, but he's looking.
Do you
pretty
remember
good.
that training photo where he had the barbell and it was like bending, and his caption was, "If it ain't bending, you ain't lifting."
Yep. That was pretty hot. That was back when he was like, having to work out X number of hours a day, and he hated life. All right, what's next?
From Ja'Cory Robertson, shout out to Rob. He recommended The Empty Man on Friday. It was so damn good. I've watched it 3 times since, trying to figure out if I'm real or a tulpa.
So The Empty Man was directed by David Pryor, who used to be a special features producer. It is a really compelling horror movie. And it was basically one of the last things that Fox made before the merger. And it's totally worth seeing. It's not like The Slender Man. And everybody should watch it. It just has a very compelling storyline, and it asks some compelling existential questions. And David Pryor has directed, I believe, an episode of Guillermo del Toro's new series, Cabinet of Curiosities.
Ooh.
So definitely something to watch out for. I'm glad you like The Empty Man. Yeah, I actually got the physical media from Stinky Tuna.
Oh. Good old Stinky Tuna.
Stinky Tuna, which
Tuna, baby.
Thanks, Stinky
I'm telling
Tuna.
you, they're not around yet. You got to get on the
don't.
tuna train, and yeah.
Is
We
that
do
like
not condone you doing any of these things.
is that like a remake of the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, or what is that?
No. Cabinet of Curiosities it's different directors each doing. It's an anthology show that's on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
And each director does a different horror series, and there's 2 episodes, two episodes per episode, 2 films per episode,
Something like that.
Gotcha.
All right, what else we
2
have?
stories per episode.
There we go.
Yeah.
From Jay Master. Have you guys seen the short video Wes Ball put out this morning teasing the new Planet of the Apes movie for Disney? It's going to be epic. No.
No.
I'll just go to the
Let's
shop.
play that now. Thank you,
Gonna
Wes
say,
Ball.
we're going to check that out for sure.
Yeah.
Ooh, very exciting. Thank you so much for letting us know about that.
Yeah, I didn't know about that.
From Zach Marcello, shout out to acknowledge that Maverick is still in the top 10 box office in its 18th weekend. Can't believe this movie is almost top 10 all the time. WW?
Worldwide.
Oh, thank you.
That's some crazy stuff.
I know.
People love Tom Cruise and jets.
They really do. We've talked about this a lot. That movie for me was just like, this is fine. I'm so glad that people love this movie, though, and that they're going back to see it over and over again, because that's what you want a movie to make
Agreed.
you feel.
Agreed.
And that sound mix in there is baller. It's so, so good. Whew. What else we
Jets
have?
are like dinosaurs.
Jets are like dinosaurs?
Kids love jets.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
Oh, I thought you
fair.
meant like jets are like that. Yeah.
When you're a jet, you're a jet.
you're a jet
or
all the way
dinosaur.
from your first cigarette to your
To your last dying day.
Boom. Well done, boys. All right.
Stay cool.
From Diamond Joe, you can tell that Wolverine is a Canadian character written by an American. His superpower is healthcare.
Well done, Diamond Joe.
Yes.
That's probably true, John. Is that true? I mean, is a Canadian superpower to have healthcare?
It's I guess you could say it's a mutation that all Canadians are born with. It's just one of those things that we up in Canada keep looking down the states going, what the fuck are you guys doing? Why are you doing this
We don't
so
know.
wrong?
We don't know at all.
All right, what's next?
From Jasperson, November hype, God of War, Ragnarok, and Black Panther 2. Oh, yes. It's going to be a good month.
I'll tell you, I'm not even sure which one I'm more looking forward to.
Wow.
That trailer for Ragnarok was so good.
Was excellent. It was really, really excellent. Now, the Black Panther 2 trailer was also world class. I mean, it was
Absolutely.
incredible. But yeah, a lot of entertainment coming in November. All right, what's next?
From
Oh, sorry. What am I doing? Wrong.
I don't know. We're live, buddy.
From DJ Khaled again. Brr, brr, brr. Mike Coulter came to Fan X in Salt Lake City a couple years ago and showed up to the after party. Girlfriend still disappointed she went home with me and not him.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah. That's fan fiction at its best. I mean, I just when he popped up in, because he plays the jerk in Girls Trip, and like just everything this dude's in, it's just he comes on stage or comes on screen, I'm instantly staggered again by how just stupidly good looking the guy is. But
Yeah.
also he's a lot of fun to watch on screen.
He's so talented.
Yeah.
Do you know in Evil, his character over 3 seasons became an ordained priest?
I thought I knew that from the trailers that he was a
He
priest.
plays a priest now. He's become, or he was an investigator for the Catholic Church, for the Archdiocese, and now he's a priest. He's become
Okay,
a priest.
that makes sense. All right, what's next?
From Mr. Holtbrook, can we fan cast Kevin Costner as Thunderbolt?
Kevin Costner would also be a very good.
very good.
I think there's probably 15 to 20 really good names who could be in there. That would definitely be one of them. All right, what's next?
From Jesse Rod. Hey, crew. Since it's Friday, I'd like to ask everyone, what is your favorite Batman Beyond episode or moment? Personally, the call that Superman theme brings me chills. Love y'all and bring on the filthy.
Okay, I may surprise you. I actually have a favorite moment. My favorite Batman Beyond moment was when it was canceled.
No one's surprised by your response, John. No one. Oh, man.
Well, you should have let all of us answer first.
I was gonna say, the epilogue episode is really, really great. That ties, or was that specifically through Justice League? Oh man, because I love that when we see all of that come together about Terry's origins. I mean, everything with Blight was awesome. I really, really love when Mr. Freeze comes back. That's particularly good. That's beautiful and heartbreaking.
That was really good.
And for me, I just still have to check it out. I haven't seen it yet.
It's like Morbius. You got to check it out.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
you'll have
Wait, you'll like the part when you get to when it gets canceled. That's
Ray's gonna love it.
The thing is, it's a
Ray's
really
gonna have so much
great
fun.
show.
No, I've seen
Ray
it.
will.
Oh, okay.
I tell you right now. I think Ray
joking. Like,
Ray
what?
will really like
It's
it.
really
I think
good.
Ray will really enjoy it. I didn't think it was that good, but Ray will really enjoy
Couldn't
it.
tell.
I think so.
Terry McGinnis forever. Oh
All
man.
right, what's next?
I love how vulnerable Jen was on the last episode of She-Hulk. I hope Jen's knight in shining armor ends up being Matt Murdock. That would be cool.
You know what? Because Ann wanted to watch it, I ended up seeing the episode.
It was pretty good.
And yes, I thought the opening dating montage was very cute. I thought the group therapy session was actually really touching. But at the end of the day, it still had the same problem for me. It wasn't funny. Like none of the jokes landed for me. Man Bull was really stupid. The porcupine thing, nothing funny about. Like how come Peacemaker can have these utterly ridiculous characters, make them hilarious? So it doesn't matter that they're utterly ridiculous because they're funny. That's the problem with She-Hulk. Those scenes were great. Those scenes were very good for what they were. But again, it's a comedy that's not funny, and it's just but
Maybe
I mean,
you just have a raunchier taste in comedy now after Peacemaker. Maybe it's a little bit more.
No, it's not about like. Listen, some of my favorite comedy stuff is still very family-friendly comedy stuff. Like, it's just about whether it's funny or not, and the stuff there is just not funny. I mean, but like when you do get near to the end and they revisit Batman Beyond being canceled, that was pretty good. That was a pretty good.
What a
part
heck
the
of a
show.
crossover.
That was very
Wow.
unexpected,
I mean,
especially in a Marvel show.
I think the only part I laughed in on She-Hulk was when the one guy takes his mask off and someone goes, "Smells like a fart."
Yeah.
It was like, it was a fart joke,
really?
and I laughed.
That's what we're going with.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Found the part two.
Oh, Jonathan Goa, this is your part 2. Deadpool then kills the TVA of his universe, and his mission is to kill a very similar Fox universe to his before it destroys his own.
Yeah, again, I just don't. We've talked about this 6 or 7 times now. I just don't see that happening.
Right.
And I don't know that's a particularly good idea. I mean, it's a very funny comic. Like Deadpool kills the Marvel universe is really fun. It's a really, really fun, but I just don't see it working well on screen.
It'd be a fun animated one-off.
Again, yeah, that's what Ray was saying, right? As an
I agree
animated
with Ray.
one-off, like
That's the only
even
way to
in
do it.
like maybe season 2 or 3 of What If, that could make a really fun episode of that.
That'd be great.
All right, what's next?
From Kiwi. Hey, Rob. Nyang, 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 nyang.
Sorry. Doesn't have the same energy.
Wow.
I'm not afraid to tell you I have no idea what's happening.
We need Amy
It's
here.
probably for the best.
Okay, just as well. All right, what's next?
From Dr. Keps. Any thoughts on the upcoming A Man Called Otto?
I'm not familiar with it off the top of my head.
Is that an episode about Otto Hightower? What's happening? What is this episode? What is this?
All right, what's next?
Oh, it's a Tom Hanks movie.
Oh, Okay.
Oh, well, nope, since I didn't even know
I
about it.
didn't-
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says a cranky retired man strikes up an unlikely friendship with his boisterous new neighbors. A remake
Dennis
of
the
the
Menace?
No, but a remake of the Swedish film from 2015. A man called Ove, en man som heter Ove.
All right.
Nailed
There
it.
you go.
Okay. What's next?
From Dr. J. I'm convinced that following the D23 backlash, the Blade crisis, and then hearing John Campea had stopped watching She-Hulk, Kevin Feige smashed the big red emergency button in his office that said, "Unleash Deadpool."
Listen, again, I know it's the tinfoil hat. I know there's nothing to back this up. There's no legitimate evidence or proof to back this up. But until Kevin Feige says otherwise, I will always believe that the timing of the Deadpool announcement was not coincidental to the timing of the news coming out about what a mess Blade is in. Because it took, I think, 90% of the attention off of it. If that Deadpool news had not dropped when it did, I think a lot more people would be making a bigger deal out of the Blade situation than they are. But again, just total tinfoil hat of me. We'll see. All right, what's next?
From Kenzie Brumley, Chris, hi. Have you watched Brie Larson's augmented reality short Remembering on Disney Plus? If so, what did you think? I have seen it. It's cute. It's charming. I think it's a little overly sentimental personally. It's a little too cheesy for me, but I think it's really beautiful to look at.
All right, what's next?
From a Sith Loud, sending in a $20 super chat.
Thank you so much, Sith Lord. Appreciate that.
Yo, Luke Cage was such a good show out on Netflix. Marvel, when Disney Plus put the Netflix show on their service, Luke Cage. Whoa, punctuation. Yo, Luke Cage was such a good show. Out of Netflix, Marvel, when Disney Plus put the Netflix show on their service, Luke Cage was the first one I would absolutely love if they brought back Luke Cage. I feel Mike really embodied him.
I agree that I felt Mike Coulter embodied him,
So good.
but I didn't think the show was very good.
I liked the first half
loved-
of season 1.
See, yeah, the first half of season 1
Yep.
was great.
Yep.
The first half of season 1 was fantastic. And then they lost Cottonmouth. And then the show just declined for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And then went into season 2 with a lot of high hopes. And again, Mike Coulter killed it. He did, but I did not think it was I mean, it was better than Iron Fist. But I didn't think it was very strong, to be honest with you. What did you think about the show overall?
I agree. I think the first half, Cottonmouth was so good.
Yeah.
And then it just, I liked him. I always liked watching him, but it just wasn't as compelling as the first half of the season.
I agree.
And then that part where he was unconscious and they're trying to throw salt in the water. Yeah, because throw salt in the bath. That'll wake you up from a coma. I was out.
To me, it was just story. The story just wasn't actually very good after that. Whatever. All right, what's next?
From Cinema Sauced, John, Wolverine and Deadpool.
Yep.
Rob, Pink looks good on you. Chris, the bangs look great. Thanks. If you could rewatch any movie for the first time, what would it be? Also, the Dahmer series is incredible.
Star Wars.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I think it would be Star Wars if I could go back and relive something, wipe it from my mind and have my first experience with it again. Yeah, Star Wars would have to be it.
I agree.
That followed closely by Lord of the Rings: Return of the King.
That would be mine.
And then Terminal
Yeah.
for me.
And then Terminal.
I wish I could go
Tom
back to
Hanks'
have not seen
Terminal.
that movie.
All right, what's next?
From KJ McGrew, hey Chris, how you and Taylor rate the movie Bros? We had a really fun time. We have an out of the theater review that you guys can watch about it. We loved it.
Yeah, the one thing I will say about the movie is not only was it hilarious, but I cried. There was some
Yep.
really emotional stuff in that movie that I did not expect. And what I'm really hoping is that Bros is the movie that Black Panther was and that Crazy Rich Asians was for their communities. I'm hoping that's what it is for my community. It was, I cannot recommend it highly enough.
Yeah, I totally agree with all of that. Oh, it's wonderful. See it. Go give it your money. My Comic Planet.
And by your community, do you mean German?
Yes, the German.
Okay. The
No,
German
what
community.
language did I just speak? I have no clue.
All right, what's next?
My Comic Planet. I watched the new trailer for Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. Looks like the perfect Halloween
It
treat.
certainly does.
It's pretty. I have no idea what's going on, but it's a pretty effective one. And
Oh,
of
yeah.
course, for Chris, it's got that one eye shot. Woo!
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting to see how that turns out. I'm very, very as an anthology series, it should be really, really fun.
Got some great horror coming up this month in
Yep.
October.
All right, what's
Ready.
next?
New Hellraiser.
I finally watched that trailer. Blah. I hate it.
I love it. Can't wait.
I don't like it at all.
I want to date her.
Oh my god!
What?
It's not a bite. No, it's not a bite.
What's
All right,
next?
Should
next
be
up.
fun.
From John Andre92. Hi, John and crew. Hear me out, John. For Deadpool 3, what if Deadpool kills the Fox
Nope.
universe is cause
Nope.
of an incursion with a similar universe?
Nope.
Deadpool and Wolverine can face off against some Fox characters like a Chris Evans Fantastic Four.
Yeah, no. I mean, again, we have now gone over it 7 times.
They're all very similar things, too.
Again, it makes a great comic issue, would make for a great what if animated thing. I just don't think that's. And now listen, again, let me be very clear. It ain't like Kevin Feige called me to tell me that's not what they're doing. Of course, the possibility exists that that's what they're doing. Absolutely, that is a possibility. But I don't think it's a probability. I just don't think they're going to. I'll be surprised if they do.
So you're saying Kevin Feige calls you? Huh?
I ain't saying nothing.
Confirmed, baby.
All right, what's next?
Jasmine Jones. I enjoy Hocus Pocus 2. It was a fun watch. I still prefer the original over this one, but Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, Kathy Najimy, and Doug Jones never left a beat, and the new actors were good. Oh, that's good to hear. Okay. I'm still nervous.
I didn't even know it dropped. When did it drop?
Apparently.
Midnight.
Oh, it did?
It came out yesterday. Like
That's
at midnight?
why.
At midnight, yeah.
They were
Okay.
making fun of me because I was out till 10:30, and they were like, "Get home, Grandma." Went home and put on my pajamas. It's great.
If I hear a few more people say some good things about it, I might watch it.
I might watch
had
it.
zero intention of watching it, but if I keep hearing some decent things, I might check it out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's next?
From MEA. Hi, John, Rob, Chris, Ray, and Jonathan. I listen every day at work, and this is my first time sending a super chat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, y'all make my shift go by so much faster, so thank you, and keep up the good work.
Oh, listen,
you.
seriously, honestly, it is amazing that you guys allow us to come into your earphones, your homes, your workplaces, whatever, and allow us to be a part of your day. That is awesome. So thank you so much for being a part of our community, and thank you for supporting us as well. We really appreciate that, and we hope you are around for a long time to come. All right, what's next?
Support.
We're just ending with some support. We've got Walter White Walker and Mr. 47. So thank you guys so much for sending that in.
Thank you, guys, and that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much, everybody, for participating and being a part of our show today. Big special thank you to all of you guys who sent in those super chats. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so much for your support. Don't forget, a little bit later today at 3 o'clock Los Angeles time, we will have our Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power open spoiler discussion. Hope you guys will come back and join us for that. And of course, don't forget to come on back on Monday for a brand new week of the John Campea Show. So for everybody in the room with us here, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett, the wonderful Chris Carr, joining you guys in the live chat, Ray Ora, producer Jonathan Voico. My name is John Campea, guys. Thanks so much for being here. Until next time, my friends. Bye-bye.